This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is a Fast Break Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, as always, is Ricky Widmer.
What's up, guys?
And Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
And it's a special edition. 13 people were clamoring in the comments of our lottery predictions that we put out Friday or Saturday. I think it popped up on Saturday on YouTube.
Yeah.
And they wanted the live motto that I mentioned in the 25th minute of the 27th minute of that video.
Love the long listens.
So we are going to bring you the live lotto and subsequent mock draft. We are pretty much a week away from, I think it'll be a week when this video posts, a week away from the actual lottery of the NBA draft. So we're going to bring you our own version of it today. But before we do that, we're going to check out some housekeeping. Check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast if you want to help support us in any single way. Also, if you're listening on iTunes, give us 5 stars. The Onside Kick, the Fast Break Podcast, the Primetime Podcast, and the Rick and Johnny Podcast. And if you're on YouTube, head out and check the Outcast. They just did a great new episode. You want to go check that out on YouTube. Also, go to mostvaluablepodcast.com, not only for the shirts, but also Ricky wrote an article. He also knows how to write and type about the 5 possible trades for Kawhi Leonard and the Spurs to explore.
I try my bestest.
And I think that's about it. So we can get into the fun stuff. I got my grandma's bingo roller. I got 14 ping pong balls labeled 1 through 14. And boys and everybody out there, this is how it's going to work. And this is true to the NBA lottery.
Yep.
I did a ton of studying this whole podcast.
We know our lotto is not rigged.
Yes.
Ours is
none
not
of
rigged.
these ping pong balls have been doctored. None of them are weighted.
No sticky envelopes.
No,
Nothing.
this is true form unless there's some weird Anderson old magic from the basement that this thing's been in. But this is how it's going to work. This is true to form to the NBA lottery. There are 1,000 combinations that we are using. 25%. We're going to flash up the percentages now for every single team. So we're going to pick the number 1 pick first through the combinations of these ping pong balls that are labeled 1 through 14. So there's 14 ping pong balls in here. They're labeled 1 through 14. And there are 1,000 unique combinations that those numbers drawn in a four numbered sequence that can come out.
There you go.
This is so confusing. 4 number sequence that will come out, and then that sequence is on a spreadsheet. It correlates to a number. So pretty much the basic way to explain it is 1, 2, 3, 4. If that comes out of the lotto bin here, that is correspondent to 1. So then we'll look in the spreadsheet under every single team and see who has the number 1. So the Suns have 250 combinations under their name. The Memphis Grizzlies have 199 combinations under the name, and so on and so forth. So if the Suns end up having 1 underneath it, they will get the number 1 overall pick because balls 1, 2, 3, 4 came out. We'll explain it, we'll show it, and hopefully it makes a little more sense.
Now here's my only question, and this is for you about what we're going to reveal. While you're doing it, I'm on the spreadsheet kind of putting together what the order will be. Do you want us to reveal, let's say the first team goes, all right, the Suns have the first pick, or what I'm thinking, let's just wait until after we draw everything and then give the full order.
No, you can't.
Let's let them wait, man.
We got it. We're going to do it true lotto style. When you see lottery numbers on, the 9 p.m. news
the
or
NBA
whatever,
lottery,
you know the whole order.
We know the whole order.
No, that's so boring. That's a boring thing with Tatum and all that stuff, and it used to be Silver. We're going to do it.
I rather just reveal the whole thing.
Once we know, we know. All right, that's how it's going to work. That's how it's going to work. You're not going to the fly
product.
You're not going to the fly. Yeah, this isn't a TV product. People want to know. All right, so this is how it's going to start. We're going to mix for 20 seconds, and then I'm going to pull out a ball, and that's going to give us one of the numbers of the 4 numbers that we're pulling out for the number 1 pick.
Good thing we got the guy with the most experience with balls handling them.
Nice.
I had to get one of those there.
I'm ignoring that one. I don't know if this is 20 seconds because the computer's going a little bit slow right now, so we're just going to hope that it turns out to be 20 seconds.
Slow?
It's been acting up a little bit,
Thank you for saying nice, by the way.
Gotta get props when they're due.
Nice.
All right.
I'm sure our fans just love hearing this noise.
First ball was about to be drawn.
Oh,
I'm going to let it come out.
That's what she said.
Let it come
There
out
it
on
is.
its own.
And weirdly enough, first number is number 1. So 1 is the first part of the key, the combination that is going to produce
I've got
the
my
number 1
ones
overall
ready.
pick. You got the ones ready, Dave?
Yep.
And again, they don't have to come out in this exact order. So any combination, it doesn't. If it comes out 1, 5, 6, 3, it's the same as 1, 3, 5, 6.
Correct.
Yes. So
It's a numerical value. It's not in picked value.
the numbers are what matter, not the order.
Ball 2.
Ball 2 is number 12.
Oh, man.
So still out there.
Yep.
Numbers 2, 3.
It's fun because we can't
4,
see anything.
5.
I just see the back of the
6,
monitor.
7,
Well, I can see
8.
everything.
Oh, okay.
9, 10, 11.
They can also
13,
see everything unless they're listening
14.
on.
So literally it's just
On
me.
audio, yeah.
I want
But
to
the
stand
But
up
the good
right
thing
now.
about the audio is people can still hear where we're going. All right, ball number 3 is out and rolling around, and it is number 9. Number 9. So far we have numbers 1, 12, and 9. One more number.
We're so close.
And that will give us the combination for the number 1 overall pick. And I swear to God, if it's the Chicago Bulls, this is going to look so rigged.
Please be the
And
Chicago
I'm going to be
Bulls.
so
Please be the
pissed.
Chicago Bulls. Come on.
Could
we
it
go.
be the Bulls? I don't even know.
Here we go.
Oh man, now I'm jacked. I'm juiced.
He's juiced.
Final one.
Juice.
Oh.
Oh,
Up.
give it a
Collusion.
wiggle.
There it is.
Collusion.
What do we got?
Final ball. Number 4.
All right, all right.
So see what that corresponds to?
1, 4, 9, 12.
1, 4, 9, and 12.
That is 154.
That is 154, and that correlates to which team, David?
Dallas Mavericks.
The Dallas Mavericks
Yep.
are going to be picking number 1 overall
Wow.
in our upcoming mock draft in about 30 minutes. Maybe not. We'll probably get that
30
done a little bit
minutes.
quicker.
I mean, yeah, probably 15. But yeah, still, that's amazing.
Wow.
Dallas gets to move up to 1.
Damn.
I can't tell you the last time
That means
Dallas
the
picked
Phoenix-
number 1 overall, so you guys
Phoenix
might want to look that up.
Suns. Phoenix Suns moving down. You think the Suns get the 4? They get
I
bounced
think
out
the Suns.
completely.
That's in Suns fashion.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
Dallas.
Ricky, you want to guess at the Suns? I'm sorry.
here's the
Dallas'
I'm saying
they're
last
gonna be
number 1.
Their last number
When was
one?
Dallas's last number 1 pick?
It wasn't
Had they-
Dirk, was it?
Was it Mark Aguirre?
I don't.
I think it was
know.
Mark Aguirre. No, it wasn't Dirk. Dirk
Get-
was
get
10.
rolling.
Dirk was 10. He was
Yeah,
picked by the
Dirk
Bucks
wasn't-
and they
I'm
traded
looking
him.
up their draft
Yeah.
history. Did you say Mark McGuire?
Aguirre.
Mark Aguirre.
Oh, okay. I'm like, Mark
Jesus.
McGuire was baseball.
Anyways,
Wow.
so all the balls go back in here.
Yep.
We're doing it same over again. Hopefully we don't get the numbers 1, 4, 9, and
9,
12.
12, yep.
And hopefully the Mavericks don't win again.
Oh my God, that would be uncomfortable. Because
So
then
we're
we
gonna do it
just
again.
extend it longer.
Yeah.
You guys could have more ball rolling fun with us.
All right. Here's the first number.
First number.
I don't think they've ever had the number 1
Jesus.
pick.
There you go. Uh-oh, Sean
All right, I gotta-
Sean
Oh.
screwed the pooch.
Sean was right. Mark McGuire, 1981.
There you go.
Told you. Okay. You get a new number. Is that one?
right.
Collusion.
Yeah, he dropped
Collusion.
a couple balls.
There we go.
Collusion.
Sean's just too many balls.
First
Collusion.
number for pick number 2
Pick 2.
is 11.
Collusion.
Oh, wow. That's going to be a good one.
And again, the combination 11, 12, and 13, and 14. So 11, 12, 13, 14 is not a combination used. So the numbers 1 through 14 produce 1,001 unique combinations. They only use 1,000 combinations, so 11, 12, 13, 14 is not used. And I had to figure out that the
So
hard way
Sean
after
gets
it
11, 12, 13. And then we just have to hope.
it doesn't come out 14.
Yep.
And hopefully it's not a Maverick number as well.
That'd be
Here's the
great.
next one. Oh, Jesus.
What? Oh,
There we go.
he did it.
One popped out.
He did it.
Number 3. So 11 and 3 are 2 of the 4 combinations.
So far, so good.
What if it was like Maverick combination, Maverick combination, Maverick and we just had to keep doing it?
I'd say
And we
like,
go
for
through all the Maverick
anyone
combinations.
in like Dallas, if you've got like the Lotto, like pick 4, like we gave you your numbers already.
Yeah.
Roll with those.
Yeah,
Roll
seriously.
with those.
Here's the next one. Third part of this key. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, Sean.
God damn it.
Collusion.
Sean.
Shut up, Ricky! God, it's so much pressure. This is an antique.
Balls are just so slippery.
Ah! I bought it from Kohl's. It was $7.
Oh man, this
My
is
grandma
great.
still left the tag on it. All right. Oh, there we go. Number 7.
Oh, we got
Number
a 3, a
7.
7, and an 11. We got 7-11 going.
And this podcast is brought to you by Franklin Ping Pong Balls that I bought at Walgreens.
Walgreens. ping pong
They're
balls,
not
huh?
an actual sponsor.
I know.
Cool it. Franklin, if you want to sponsor us, do it.
I'll be honest. If we got some ping pong balls, I'd use them.
You guys ready?
For what?
Play ping pong at
pong?
work.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Cool it. We're about to pick the number 2 overall
Okay.
pick. We're not about to talk ping pong balls.
I'm just saying, like Franklin's
So-
not a bad brand.
11, 3, and 7.
Got you.
The 4th one coming out.
Don't be too rough with it, Sean.
Come on, Sean.
There we
Don't
go.
choke.
Got it. 14, 11, 3, 7, and 14
6, 3, 3.
gives us 633, which correlates to which team, David Oster?
It's back. It's back. It's the
Orlando Magic.
It's the Orlando Magic. So the Orlando Magic are going to be selecting second overall in our live lottery. Thank God it wasn't the Mavericks.
And Suns.
Why are you saying, ugh?
Because I don't want the Mavericks.
Magic.
I don't want the Magic to have a top 3
Jesus.
pick.
Guys, I literally commented.
I'm happy for them.
I just commented on a video saying we hate no team, city,
Yeah.
or state. Now you're like, God, the Magic.
I don't hate the Magic. I just didn't want them to have number 2 pick because I want the Bulls to have it.
I'm not going to get too spoilery here, but I wanted the Magic to get Trae Young.
Well,
at number 2, it's unlikely.
But now
unlikely,
They
but not
could go
unsure.
for young
now
potential, Dave.
Our boy Vageberg, you could still pick him to go to the Magic too. Our boy Vageberg on Twitter, and he's been a long time fan.
Traded for Kawhi.
He's a massive Luka Doncic fan, so this puts him in the running. All right,
That'd be good.
first number out. I think it's 11 again. Ooh, it's 12.
Oh, we got late.
12. So this is for the third
Maluski.
pick. We're also doing, again, how the lottery works is they do the first 3 picks through the lotto,
Yep.
and then it goes by order. So
Yep.
if the Suns aren't picked here, they're going 4th.
Unfortunate for the Suns. They got Suns.
They got Sunsed.
Again.
They got
Yeah.
Sunsed again.
Seriously, like, how bad do you feel if you're the Suns? Like,
You can still get a big man at 4.
yeah, but
It's
seriously,
either like what, Bamba Jackson?
how
at
many
4?
years have they
Whoop.
missed the one? Every single one of them.
Next
Okay,
number, 7.
7.
12 and 7 are the first 2 numbers for the
All
third
right,
pick.
all right.
How many years have they just missed out on the 1 pick? I mean, come on, it's getting
I
annoying
don't
now.
know.
I don't
Off
think
the
they've
top of
ever
my head.
got
They've
one.
never had it.
They never got one.
They've never had it. That's how it's frustrating. I mean, but they've been
Mag-
been early in the lotto a lot.
The
though.
Magic had really good lotto luck. 92, 93, they had back-to-back number 1 overall picks.
Yeah.
Next number. 13.
Whoa, we're
Popped
going
out.
late.
Saw that one clean. So 12, 7, and 13.
Wow. Some good numbers over there, Sean.
This is going to be fun. This is going to start a tradition. And we're going
And
to
the-
see what we need to improve. So give
And
us
the
any
last
improvements.
time
that
the
we need.
Magic had the number 2 pick, Victor Oladipo.
that worked out
Ooh,
great
yeah.
for the Magic.
But wait, no, it didn't.
It worked out great for the Pacers.
All right, final ball, and I can finally put this freaking thing away.
Unless
I think
it's
we
the
should-
Magic or the
Mavericks.
Mavericks.
It's the Mavericks. I would try to keep it rattling the whole show. Just
ready?
keep it background noise.
God,
So
that would
12?
annoy me.
7, and 13
I'm ready.
are the first numbers.
me that number.
Final number.
Give me that number.
Oh, there's 2 popped out.
Oh,
Sean just choking on
Jesus.
balls.
4 and 6. 4 and 6 were the numbers that popped out. Let me give it a
I know
roll.
what you were doing there.
Yeah, it's pretty clear. There was no like.
I got you.
He's
There was
not-
no like easing that one in.
Sean
Choking
does
on
not-
balls. It's pretty clear, Rick.
Sean does not juggle balls well.
I'm not a good ball handler. Jesus. A 4 and 3 popped out.
Do you need an adult over there?
Yes, he does.
I am.
Now he's
almost
getting
gonna be
aggressive
21.
with it, and I don't know if that affects it.
It might.
It doesn't. There it is. It's
Oh,
it's on the
what's the
dismount.
number?
Number 9.
7,
So,
9.
7, 9, 12, and 13? Yeah.
954.
954. 954 correlates to.
Oh man,
The Magic.
it's
Are you serious?
God
God damn it.
What's funny is column M is magic.
Jesus
M for
Christ.
magic.
So the Magic are really lucky in the lottery.
Yep.
We're going to do this one
What
really
we got to
quick.
do for the third pick?
No, you gotta make it just 20 seconds. Give me 20 seconds on the clock.
No.
Sean is done.
All right, there we go.
Or you can put 20 up on the
Sean
clock.
is done.
First number 4.
Sean
swear to God, if
Sean
this
is
is Mavericks-
over this already.
We're going to need some editing here. Next one. Number 12. Next one. Number 1.
Oh, we got a 1 on the board.
I swear to God, if this is the fucking Magic again.
Or the Mavericks. Don't forget
Mavericks.
about
Or the Mavericks, it's true.
1 4 blank 12.
Final one. 9. 1, 4, 9, 12. 1, 4, 9, 12 are the winning lottery numbers. For the third
Is that
overall pick.
154 again?
No, it's not.
It is 154.
Fuck! Was that the Magic again?
No, it's the Mavericks.
God
Yeah.
damn it. Are you serious? This lotto is rigged.
At this point, Sean just wants to rig it.
All right, here we
now,
go.
let's get
Screw
the
it,
Bulls,
the Bulls
in
get
there.
the 3.
No, 7. I would swear to God, if the Bulls were the number 1 pick, I was planning on falling out of my chair.
Oh, okay.
Because that's never been done on a podcast.
I was
and
waiting
that's
for
what
the
we-
restart.
That would have been needed for the dramatic
I
effect.
was waiting for the walk-up for the restart.
There we go. Next ball. 1. So 7-1. You might be asking too. There's for the smaller balls that are typically in here. There's like a little dumper, but it doesn't fit. So 7-1, right? Mm-hmm.
So you put the balls come out of the dumper.
Fucking Jesus Christ! There's so much swearing on this podcast.
I don't think it's swearing. It's
just balls loose.
Ball on the floor.
Is that 3?
It's a 10.
Oh, it's a 10. Your handwriting's atrocious.
You try writing on a ping pong ball.
I have.
This is
It went
17
well.
minutes of this noise. All right, final ball.
Our fans just love us. If
They
they're
do.
still
They
watching
do
right
love
now.
us.
Final ball, 11.
Oh, 11.
So 7, 11. What is that? 10?
242.
And 1. 242. 242 is the number. Let's look that up on the spreadsheet.
It's the Hawks.
It's the Hawks. So the Suns get sunsed. So we
got
have the
Suns.
Mavericks.
Let's do it.
The Magic.
The Hawks.
And the Hawks as your 1, 2, 3 lotto, which means the Suns will be picking 4 at 5. That will put the Grizzlies. So the Grizzlies get knocked out of the top 3 as well.
There you
Then
go.
the I think it goes then the Bulls, the Kings, the Cavs, the Knicks,
Bulls, Kings, Cavs.
Knicks, right? Bulls, Kings, Cavs,
Bulls,
Knicks.
Kings, Cavs. Then we've
Knicks.
got
The Knicks.
Knicks, Sixers, Hornets.
Knicks, Sixers, Hornets. Sixers do keep their pick.
Yep.
And
not between 2 through 5. Does not convey to the Celtics.
And the Clippers will
And
keep the
then-
Pistons pick.
It'll be Clipper, Nugget.
Clipper, Nugget. All right, so we should probably we'll run through it. We still got a couple minutes left on the audio recording. So
surprises though here.
the order for our mock draft that's coming up: number 1, the Mavericks will be picking. Number 2, the Orlando Magic. Number 3, the Atlanta Hawks. Number 4, the Phoenix Suns. Number 5, the Memphis Grizzlies. Number 6, the Chicago Bulls. Number 7, the Sacramento Kings. Number 8, via the Brooklyn Nets, the Cleveland Cavaliers will be picking. Then number 9, the New York Knicks will be selecting. At number 10, the Philadelphia 76ers via the Los Angeles Lakers. Then at 11, the Charlotte Hornets. Then at 12, via the Detroit Pistons, who just fired Stan Van Gundy.
Yep.
The Los Angeles Clippers will be picking, and that was via the Blake Griffin trade. Then at 13, the Los Angeles Clippers will be picking with their own pick. And then finally, at 14, the Denver Nuggets will be selecting.
So really, all our lottery did was have the teams at 3, 4, and 5
Jump
1 and 2,
Yep.
and then the Magic jump the Hawks.
Yeah. Congrats, Magic.
So there we go.
I think congrats Mavericks. I got the
Oh,
number one
Mavericks,
pick.
absolutely.
So y'all wanted this, and we're going to give it to you. And now it's time for the fun part. We're going to do the mock draft based off this lottery. How we're going to do it, we're going to do it different than we usually do it. We're just going to go all at the first time. So I'm going to go to Ricky first for the number 1 pick. Then Dave's going to go with the number 1 pick. And I'm going to go with the number 1 pick. I don't know about how the graphics are going to work, but
This
we're
will
going
be
to do it.
intense because it's live.
So, via the lottery, the Dallas Mavericks will be picking first overall for the first time since 1981 when they selected Mark Aguirre. Ricky Widmer, the number 1 overall pick. Who did the Dallas Mavericks select?
DeAndre Ayton, center, Arizona. Well, power forward,
Well,
center,
he wants
whatever.
David Oster, for the first time since 1981. The Dallas Mavericks are selecting number 1 overall. Mark Cuban and the Mavericks
Really
select
sounds terrible in the headphones.
No, it's DeAndre Ayton.
DeAndre Ayton, power forward center out of Arizona. And the Mavericks at number 1 overall. Funny, I wanted to bring this up. The Mavericks got yelled at for tanking, or because Cuban came out and said they're
Yes.
tanking. So now this looks
They're getting rewarded.
Yeah, it's kind of along Ricky's idea of, hey, stop tanking or stop saying you're tanking, and we'll give you the number 1 overall pick.
Could happen. The league could do that.
Number 1, let's go DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah.
Consensus off the boards for the Dallas Mavericks. They're going to take
quit
the big
cheating ahead,
man.
Ricky.
You got a big.
You got to hold up.
They're going to go with the big man from Arizona. So let's talk about the decision made here, because right now they just selected Dennis Smith Jr. in the last draft. Dirk's still kicking around. Nerlens flopped a little bit. They still have Harrison Barnes' contract there. They still have Wesley Matthews' contract there. Why go with DeAndre Ayton for the Mavs, Dave?
He is something special. To be 100% honest with you, we haven't seen somebody with his body, his speed, his athleticism in quite some time. I think that what he brings them is the perfect pair to Dennis Smith. You have a point guard who is dynamic, aggressive, and explosive, and him plus DeAndre Ayton on the pick and roll, pick and pop. The options it opens up for their offense is incredible. The question is defensively, is he going to try? That's always been DeAndre Ayton's question. But look, the time frame that this Mavericks team is on, I think it's the ideal guy to go with.
Well, Ricky, and we've talked about the fits for the Dallas Mavericks. Is this the best big man fit for them, or is this just the best big man?
It's not the best big man fit. For me, the best big man fit is Mo Bamba. Like when we talked Mavericks a long time ago, it seems like a long time ago, Mo Bamba's the better choice because Mo Bamba's actually going to be playing center. And with DeAndre Ayton, it's one of those... Here, I wasn't going to go with, we're going to go with Mo Bamba because he's the better big man fit. DeAndre Ayton is the best big man in this draft right now. And it could be a situation where it's like, hey, we're going to draft you. I know you want to play power forward, but we got this guy called Dirk Nowitzki. I don't know if you've heard of him or not. So you're going to have to play the 5. And I think that's what they're just going to have to roll with.
And it's going to be interesting to see how that works, Dave. But also, Luka's still number 1 on your big board. So why did they go away with, in your mind, the best player out there over a guy like DeAndre Ayton? Or why did they go Ayton over your best player in Luka Doncic?
Yeah, so I think for me, it really comes down to fit in their offense. And, I think that Luka would be able to fit in well. I think it would be almost a little redundant to have another ball handler there. They already have Harrison Barnes. I know people don't love him. He is a above average small forward, power forward combo. He's just a wing. I'll just leave it at that. I don't think that they need another ball handler. I think keeping the ball in Dennis Smith's hands is key, and then they have Harrison Barnes as a secondary. I think that surrounding him with a lockdown at power forward / center moving forward has so much more benefit to them than adding in a secondary ball handler like Luka, who I think he can come in and play right now, but at the same time, I don't know that this team necessarily wants to win right now, and I'm saying that in the nicest way I can. I think this is going to be a team who's going to be back in the lottery next year and probably close-ish to the top.
It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out because, again, I think I agree with Ricky that it's not the best big man fit. We've talked about Mo Bamba fitting very well with them, what he brings defensively and what he brings as a talent, being at least going to college in Texas, bringing his athleticism and his length. Pairing that with Dennis Smith Jr. could be a real nice pair, and going off of Dennis Smith's downfalls defensively, Mo Bamba, you think that he could fill out and bring those, help support what Dennis Smith brings offensively. And also Marvin Bagley, at least offensively, I think they'd pair really nice one with
they could run
one another.
Fast break so well. That would be disgusting.
And for me personally, this is also going to be a shameless plug with this. Me personally, I would feel like I'd want to take, I'd be like, we can take Mo Bamba number 1. But
what would you personally
have to. And the reason why is I think that, right now, DeAndre Ayton is the best big. I think, 5 years down the line, long time down the line, we're looking back at this draft and going, man, Mo Bamba was the best big from this draft.
Mo Bamba 1?
Yeah, be a man. Put your name on it.
If you think he
because
fits
I feel like the Mavericks are going to want to.
So this is what they would go with.
Yeah, going a little bit of what Dave was saying, where it's like, hey, you know what? We might not want to, or we want to win now, but we might not feel like we can compete for a championship. But we need to add someone that can contribute now and not go off of someone with potential at number 1, especially with the other bigs that are in this draft as well.
I still think Ayton's top end is higher than Bamba's.
Really? Why is that?
100%.
I mean, we compared Bamba's top end to Joel Embiid, who's one of your favorite players and one of your favorite big man now.
Absolutely.
So what does Ayton bring and potential-wise, where does he top out?
Miles ahead of where he is ahead of Bamba offensively. It's not even close. They don't even play in the same stratosphere. It's not even close, the offensive game that Ayton comes to the NBA with. That's my concern is, yes, Bamba could develop an offensive game, but DeAndre Ayton could walk in the league and give me 20 and 10. Night in, night out.
To me,
he still has a higher top end than Bamba.
To me, it's the same conversation that we had NFL side this year with Rosen and Darnold, where DeAndre Ayton's your Josh Rosen, where it's like he can walk in right now and he can be exactly what I want.
To me,
whereas
he's not even that.
Bamba and Darnold are more of that, hey, the potential is higher.
But correct me if I'm wrong here, Dave. What you think is Ayton, where he is offensively, is much further than where Bamba is anywhere in his game outside of physically, where Bamba has a 7'6" wingspan, but Ayton still is more physically filled out. And he has a better offensive game that is already established. All you need to work with him is on his defense and making sure that he's in the right spot.
I think that's the thing is the difference between them, like you said, it's not just defense, period. It's effort level on defense goes a long way. If you can get him to give some effort, if he's not Ja, you're absolutely set. The difference between him putting in effort on defense versus Mohamed Bamba learning to play offense, I think there's a much larger difference.
I would take the second one because to me, I feel like it's easier to teach you how to do the offensive part rather than you. I can't teach you how to be more aggressive on defense. I can't teach you how to have that aggressiveness, to the best defense. And that too. I can't teach you to have more effort.
Real quick, I mean, we talked about this though with Joel Embiid versus Karl-Anthony Towns. You and I did.
Yes.
I picked Cat because I thought he would be able to show more effort, show a little more defensively. We saw this year that didn't happen.
He's slightly trended upwards.
Slightly better, but I mean, still
not
nowhere
Jones.
near the level of Joel Embiid.
Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Yeah.
So I mean, that's one thing that again. This is more of a mock draft on what you think they will do and not should do. But if you said they should do, you'd have Mo Bamba number one.
And it comes down to, here's the shameless plug. Go check out the Primetime Podcast where Brandon and I talked about, is Mo Bamba the best big man in this draft? And I said there that, no, he's not right now. But 5 years down the line, we're going to look back at this and go, man, Mo Bamba was the best big in this draft.
Or he's Tyson Chandler.
That's a pretty good. I mean, he's still in the league.
I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying there's a big difference between the best big in this draft and Tyson Chandler.
But also, I mean, but again,
I'm not throwing shade at Tyson. I'm just saying.
If he tops out to Karl-Anthony Towns, I think Towns is better offensively than Ayton was coming in. And I think Karl-Anthony
Really?
Yeah. Because, I mean,
Cat didn't have the numbers in college.
Cat's more fluid, though.
Cat was more fluid, but he didn't
Cat was on a better team.
The ball.
Cat was on a better team, so he didn't have
So that's the question is, like, it turns into volume versus, like, opportunity on the team because Ayton was a main scorer on that team where Cat was not. Cat's numbers in college weren't, like, jaw-dropping, shockingly impressive. They were good.
Yeah.
But, like, even going into that draft, like, it took up until about the month before till he became the obvious number one pick, where this year, like, Ayton is so far ahead of every other big in this draft.
But Cat, in college, still showed every single thing that he's showing now. I mean, he had great numbers from the free throw line, still showed a stroke. So, I mean, the shooting is there. He still showed his fluid ability offensively. Yeah. And he just didn't have really the ability to showcase his skills.
Right.
So, I mean, we saw everything from Ayton. So, it's pretty much whether you want to be in the camp of what they should go with or, you know, who you think the best player is. I'm just with Dave. I think that Ayton is a safer pick because he is more developed, and yes, while he might not show that defensively, he makes up for it what he does offensively. And even though I love Mo Bamba, the physicals are there, at least, you know, from wingspan, height, and at least a little bit of his athletic ability. He showed a little bit off the bounce this year, and also running up and down the court. But also, you got to learn how to be, you know, positioned right defensively, which he can learn, but it's going to take a little bit of a while. And also, you know, foul trouble was a big concern for him. And how much is he going to be able to grow offensively? Will he be a Tyson Chandler or will he be Joel Embiid? So that's a huge question with Mo Bamba. I think it's too big of a question at number one. That's why they go DeAndre Ayton. But let's go now to the Magic at 2. Again, lucky Magic. They won twice in our the Mavericks won twice
and the Magic
in a row.
Yeah, the Magic
but they did.
Yeah.
They both did.
Great. So the Mavericks were lucky in our Lotto, and they've been lucky throughout their whole run as a franchise. But the Magic are picking 2 in our Lotto. Dave, who do you have the Orlando Magic going with here?
I've got them going with Luka Doncic.
So you're going away with Trae Young.
Yeah, it's the first time in a long. I wanted to give him Trae.
First time since I think
to give him Trae.
Mock Draft 1.0, you've gone away with.
I'm checking
with
one
Trae
right
Young.
now real quick.
Ricky, who do you have him going with?
I got
number
him
2?
same way, Luka Doncic. To me, it's when it comes down to it. Yes, Trae Young. I like Trae Young better, just as like a. Not necessarily like, oh, I think he's better, just I like Trae Young. But Luka's the far better ball handler ranked in this draft. So it's like, take the best ball handler. You need him. Go ahead with Luka.
You're right. They do need him. Because, I mean, you look, they traded away Elfrid Payton. He wasn't even that great. Unless
you want DJ Augustine as your main point guard in the future.
I mean, he's rolling right now.
He's not rolling right now because he hasn't played in a month. Yeah, I mean, they haven't had a ball handler there in a while. Elfrid Payton wasn't great in his term there. That's why they traded him to Phoenix. And you look at who they have on roster, Aaron Gordon, Jonathan Isaac, Evan Fournier, they would be better off with a ball handler. The only thing I will bring up is this will totally change after the Combine if Michael Porter Jr. is on the board, because I know the fit isn't really great there because, again, I think he projects to more of a 4 in the NBA. That's where Aaron Gordon feels more comfortable. But, again, with Jonathan Isaac's length, he could possibly play 5, and with his defensive versatility, he could possibly play the 5. And Michael Porter Jr. has the biggest star potential in my mind.
It's true.
I'm still going to have them go with Luka Doncic because we don't know what the health is on Michael Porter Jr., but just throwing out that
Can't wait for that combine.
That at least possibility that Michael Porter Jr. would be a sneaky pick here for the Orlando Magic, because I've been talking so much about them getting a star. But pretty much Luka and Ayton are the clear 1-2 right now, right?
Yeah, I think I would be super impressed if anyone leapfrogged either one of these guys. I think Luka, as much criticism he's gotten recent weeks about the international tournament, going up against sort of NBA quality defenders, I think that a lot of it comes down to, if you look at a box score, it may not look like his contributions are at a large scale, but if you watch the games and watch what he's doing on the floor and watch his impact, you see someone who looks like an NBA veteran, and it's actually really impressive coming out of a 19-year-old kid. I think he has such a heavily polished fundamental game that he can hit the NBA running and grow up a lot of the things that you need at this next level. The explosive athleticism, the first step speed that, maybe he can get a little bit better at. Mm-hmm. And I know that's the biggest concerns right now are, well, if he can't get past NBA, level athletes, how is he going to succeed at this next level?
And Ricky, bringing this up, we've seen consistently that the Magic have gone off of athleticism with Aaron Gordon before, Victor Oladipo. They've gone with length, Jonathan Isaac, also Aaron Gordon before. Do you think they go with Luka Doncic because he is clearly right now, in our mind, because we just said he was 1-2, the best player on the board, or do they chase after a Mo Bamba? Do they chase after a Michael Porter Jr. because of that athleticism?
To me, first off, before I get into the question, there's only two guys that I can see jumping either a Doncic or an Ayton post-combine. That's Michael Porter Jr.
Yep.
If it shows that, hey, he's coming good off the injury.
He's now 100% instead of 65%.
He is, he was the number one pick before the year. This is what we saw. Let's go ahead and take him. The only other guy I can see doing that is a guy we talked about 2 seconds ago, and that's Mo Bamba. The only two I could see jumping that far up. However, the Magic, I wouldn't be surprised if they looked at it and went, hey, you know what? We usually like that athletic guard. Let's go with a guy like Trae Young who can drive and dish and shoot the three. I would go Luka, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Magic did that and went, we're going to go with Trae Young.
Who do you think's more athletic, Colin Sexton or Trae Young?
Colin Sexton, but Colin Sexton is not going to go number 2.
Well, you said they want to go athletic, so you throw out Trae Young there. I'm just saying.
Well, out of the guys that they could take here at 2.
Sean, who would you have the Magic take at number 2?
Didn't I say it?
No.
I don't think you did.
Yeah, I did. Because I went around. I said I went through the whole thing.
I didn't
they
hear
have
it.
Aaron Gordon. They have Jonathan Isaac. They have Evan Fournier. They need Luka Doncic.
Okay.
Fair enough. Well, then I'm going to
because that's why I asked the whole 1-2 thing, because we have Ayton and Doncic.
Then I'm going to say the thing I was thinking, because I wasn't sure. I didn't want to jump in.
Yeah.
They're gonna.
Are you looking at the spreadsheet? I wrote down Luka Doncic there.
Yeah,
too.
but Ricky wrote like 4 picks ahead, so I didn't even want to go there.
No, I'm at 2.
Yeah,
you were right. I was at 4.
I was only at 3.
We fucking saw.
I was only at 3.
Shut up. We saw you right ahead.
I don't see that as a big problem, but go ahead.
If the Magic go 2 and the Grizzlies land at 5, what if the Magic trade back?
No.
Do you think that if they trade back to get a primary ball handler like Trae Young, someone who can be a true point guard, who has the outside range to be dangerous, who has the best passing ability in this draft class, do you think it's out of the realm that they would pass up on someone like Luka for someone who's a true point?
I'm going to go to Ricky first just because you said no right away.
Well, it depends on what I'm getting from the Grizzlies, and the Grizzlies are either injured or...
Well, let's say they give you picks. Let's say they give you capital.
So you're swapping 2 for 5.
And then they give you a pick the year after because they can't do back-to-back.
Depending on the future picks,
I don't know, just throwing it.
I might, but I would just stay there and take either. I would just stay there and take Trae or Luka at number 2 then.
So, but if you're having the ability to, because I mean, we don't know how that's going to fall out, but if you think Trae Young is going to be at 5 and you think he's still going to be there, then why wouldn't you move down and get the extra capital and try to build up that team?
I wouldn't take the chance, and the other reason being is the Suns. I'm on board with it. Our comment section's on board with it. They're going to take a big. However, if they think, hey, maybe we do need a ball handler, maybe we do need a guard, they could be a team that snatches Trae Young before I get to it. Then I trade it back, could have just taken my guy at 2, and now I'm sitting there kicking myself.
But then if we're talking about bigs and we're talking about potential, then Michael Porter Jr. could be even there.
I mean,
I know. Take the guy that you want.
Yeah, exactly. That's what
what
I
you're
would
going
do.
with.
I wouldn't trade
Just throwing
back.
it out there.
I don't trade back. I'm trading up when it comes to the NBA draft.
All right.
Interesting.
It's going to be. I mean, we don't see a ton of trades at the top outside of last year with the 1-3. But I mean, we don't. We don't see a ton of movement 1 through 5, and that wasn't even that shocking of a move because
that's
we knew
because
that
Boston wanted J-Tay, and no one was going to take J-Tay.
We knew that Boston wanted Jason Tatum. We knew that the best fit for the 76ers was Markelle Fultz.
Yep.
So why not flip-flop? And
Yeah.
he did. But that wasn't super
Bulls trade
shocking
up.
that it happened.
And we knew the Lakers were going to take Lonzo.
The Bulls
traded up.
but that was
up.
top 7. I'm saying top 5.
Oh, okay.
That was with the
that was the
T-Wolves.
7th pick, and that was also for Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
We also, again, we expected that. But if that came out of nowhere and that happened, we'll see what actually happens
saying.
after next Tuesday.
Feels like a magic-y move.
With the way it lays out. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, they did trade Chris Webber back in '93. But anyways, Luka Doncic and DeAndre Ayton are off the board. We all had them going Ayton. The Mavericks selecting DeAndre Ayton and the Orlando Magic selecting Luka Doncic. So now we are at the Atlanta Hawks. Ricky Widmer, who do you have? The Atlanta Hawks selecting at number 3.
So this is going to be a shocker. You ready for it?
All right.
Mo Bamba.
Okay.
Going with Mo Bamba to the Hawks. I know he could go with Bagley, could go with Triple J. I'm going with Mo Bamba, my second big off the board.
David Oster, who are the Atlanta Hawks going? Is it so shocking that Mo Bamba's going there?
It's not super shocking. I mean, it comes down to personal preference. Like Ricky
Most
said,
people were going to think Bagley or Triple J.
Yeah, I'm going Triple J. I love Jaren Jackson Jr. I think him pairing with John Collins is a fantastic future front court. I would be thrilled to lock somebody down like Triple J who can play shutdown defense, stretch the floor to the outside, contribute, all across the board.
It would have been so fucking boring if we all had the same player, and I'm glad we disagree on every single level. I have them going from Duke, Marvin Bagley, the forward from Duke. I don't know why I said that again. But looking at his athleticism, I think it's unmatched. They went athleticism and big last year with John Collins.
Yep.
They don't want to clog up that 3 spot because Taurean Prince had a really nice showing. Dennis Schroeder's already at the 1, so they're not going to go with a Trae Young. And I know that Marvin Bagley, we don't really know his position, but John Collins showed that not only is super athletic within 15 feet, he also has a pretty decent defensive game. And Marvin Bagley bringing his offensive prowess could be a really nice 1-2 punch down there, down low. And Dennis Schroeder already is probably a top 15, maybe even top 12 guard right now. And you're just looking at that 2 spot that they need to solidify. And with the 19,000 picks they have in the first round, I think it's 3. But with the 3 picks they do have in this draft, they can go get a developmental guard like a Trayvon Duval from Duke or a Gary Trent from Duke, or even a little later,
a good fit,
like a Grayson Allen at that 2 spot. But I think right now you go with Marvin Bagley, you go with potential, and you pair offense with some with a really nice ball handler in Schroeder, and also Taurean Prince and Collins have shown that they have the ability to play defense, which will show kind of fix the holes that Bagley does have in his game. So
he will leave for you defensively.
Yes. So you're going defense though with Mo Bamba. We talked about this a little bit. Jake brought this up as a fit.
Defense.
Okay, I'm going to talk though. Jake brought this up as a fit that they should go defense here for the Hawks when we had him on. He brought up Jaren Jackson. He brought up Mo Bamba. So you're going defense here, at least 3 for Mo Bamba.
A little bit. And the reason why I go Mo Bamba is it's a lot of moving pieces. But first off, when I look at Jaren Jackson, I think mostly defense. When I look at Marvin Bagley, I think mostly offense. Could both of them do the other one? Yeah, but that's what they're known for in my mind. Then with Bamba, he can do both. So why not take the guy that I can mold at both places on the court? Then there's other things that play into it as well. Like when the improvement that we've seen already from his shot, he talked about going from a catapult motion to more of a catch and shoot
to more of a shooting motion.
Yeah, more than a shooting motion.
From catapult to shooting.
From the 1500 from 500 BC to modern
Well, that's
day.
how he described it in his interview.
Well, it was like we used to call him the trebuchet.
Yeah,
yes.
But also just listening to this kid in interviews, he's got one thing like that. Kind of when he was asked a question of like, do you want to go to the Knicks? I know you're from the New York area. Would going to the Knicks be great? And his simple answer of, that's interesting. I didn't know the Knicks were going to be picking number 1. That to me, I want that. I want that kind of, some will say cockiness, some will say swag. I want that attitude of I'm the best. Yeah, that can cross over some people. Oh, that's bad. I want that guy who's going to be like, I'm the best. I'm going to prove to you I'm the best.
Now,
and I'm going to work on myself.
Dave, Ricky said something interesting where he sees Bamba as a nice mix of offense and defense, where he sees Bagley as the offensive guy strictly and Jaren Jackson as the defensive guy strictly. Now, looking back at what we saw at Michigan State, we saw that Jaren Jackson has a really nice offensive game. Shot 39%? 39%. 39% from three, shot around 80% from the free throw line. So he showed the developments of a shot, and he is pretty athletic. So you're going with kind of the same thought process in my mind. If I know you're going with that mix of offense and defense. You just think you have more of a solidified player in Jaren Jackson, right?
Yeah, I mean, Jaren Jackson has shown, I guess the big qualifier here is the fact that the minutes. You look at the minutes that Jaren Jackson's played, he's averaging just under 22. Bamba is just over 30 minutes a game. So I think we got to see a whole lot more of Bamba and him trying to really establish himself, where Jaren Jackson played on a great Michigan State team where he was a piece, but he wasn't, responsible for the entire team. So really what it comes down to is, do you believe that he can extend his, his role out to being more than just a role player? Because what I think is his advanced stats look impeccable. He looks like he transfers all these skills perfectly to the next level. And I think even at the number 3 pick, if you walk away with someone who is an excellent role player on a top-end team, that's still wonderful, because at the end of the day, you don't need 4 ones. It doesn't always work out best that way. He's somebody who you could put him on every single team in the NBA right now, and I think it's quality. Like, there's not a bad fit for him. Whereas Mohamed Bamba, I think there's situations where maybe he wouldn't be a great fit on certain teams because of the development required, the chance that you're putting in him on a guy who may or may not develop, versus a guy in Jaren Jackson who looks like he's coming out just already ready to go. And I disagree with what you said about him being mostly defensive. It's not like he can't. His offensive game is there. It's just he wasn't given the opportunities to score. It's not like him growing his offensive game is going to be a problem, I don't think.
And when I say that, I wasn't like, that he doesn't have offense, Bagley doesn't have defense.
Bagley doesn't have defense.
Bagley sucks defensively.
If I'm picking,
you'd be very fair to say he doesn't have defense.
What are they better at? To me, Jaren Jackson better at defense. Bagley, almost said Mo Bamba. Bagley better at offense. Mo Bamba, I feel like, is more clay that I can work and get more potential out of both of those areas in one player rather than two.
Jackson's better at offense and defense than Mohamed Bamba.
So he's saying more the potential is there, and also, where Jackson's more of a finished product. Even though real quick,
most
hold
of
on,
these
real
teams
quick.
in the lottery up top, they're not like, we're going to win in 2-3 years.
And real quick, Jaren Jackson is younger than Mo Bamba. So even though
Bamba's the oldest out of the 3.
Yeah, and Bamba is,
you're just going potential's there because of his body.
And measurable 7'6".
And from what I've seen already through the season, after the season.
Yeah, and just because you brought up the minutes with Jackson, the per 40 minutes for both Bamba and Jackson. Jackson per 40 averaged 20 points per game, 10.6 rebounds per game, 2 assists, 1.1 steals per game, 5.5 blocks per game as well. That's
goofy.
That's per 40 minutes. He shot 51% from the field and 39.6% from 3, and then from the line shot 79.7. And then Mo Bamba, again, goofy numbers as well: 17.1 points per game, 14 rebounds per game, 1 steal a game, 0.7 assists. Not known for his passing abilities. Also on a worse team, but also 4.9 blocks in those minutes as well. He shot 54.1% from the field. 54.1% from the field, 27.5% from 3, and 68.1% from the line. But one thing, too, this is going to be the final thing, and we'll go to Marvin Bagley. We talked about his top end, Mo Bamba, being Joel Embiid. NBA comparisons, Jaren Jackson. Who do you see in Jaren Jackson? Who do you see him kind of molding out to? Because we talked about Mo Bamba Joel Embiid for Mo Bamba. We've thrown out David Robinson for big old DeAndre Ayton, or even Karl-Anthony Towns. We just compared him to. Who do you see Jaren Jackson kind of fit in the role of?
Honestly, I don't have an ideal fit, because I don't think there's like one guy who at this point can do what he can do. And it's hard because like you go for top end comp. So he's a block monster. So that puts him in the range of someone like a Gobert, a Hassan Whiteside. But at the same time, his offensive rating is off the charts. He gets better in conference play against better quality opponents. He had like a 129 offensive rating and a 90 defensive rating in conference play. It's insane. So I don't know, because defensively, he could be one of the best players in this draft. period. But then offensively, he's not a slouch. So like when I look and I see the struggles of Hassan Whiteside in these playoffs where he's not able to be on the court because he's so ineffective, I don't have that concern with Jaren Jackson. But I also don't see him being Rudy Gobert levels of just a absolute lockdown for 4 feet around the rim. And then, I think that he can, I guess maybe a little Gobert-ish. I think that's sort of the range, would be Gobert-ish.
And the draft guide for the Ringer has shades of Miles Turner, but Jaren Jackson can actually rebound.
That's the thing, because it was basically they compared advanced stats from college. They took basic stat lines, advanced stat lines. I read that thing. I don't disagree, but I think he's going to be better than Miles Turner.
Interesting. Final guy for me, again, Marvin Bagley. We really haven't talked about him.
Yeah.
I just think this kid offensively is dynamic, and I think you need a dynamic offensive player on there because, again, Schroeder is a really good point guard. He can provide points to you. I don't think he's a number 1 scorer, but he can easily be a number 2 scorer and has some passing abilities. Not going to be like Chris Paul levels dishing out 10 assists, James Harden as well, dishing out 10 assists. Both on the same team.
I was gonna say.
But also, he can get you 5 to 6 assists when you're giving him really good offensive players. Taurean Prince really showed his ability to score, shoot from the outside, and be a versatile defender, which is going to hide the flaws that we saw in Marvin Bagley's game in college. And then John Collins, again, he's a guy that can roam from, he can step out a little bit to like the 20-foot line, but 15 to the basket, he's money. Has a ton of athleticism, super explosive for his size, and I think he can hide some of the deficiencies that Bagley has defensively. And if we're talking about potential, we're looking at a guy who has really good ball handling skills for a 6'11 guy. Has a pretty decent shot from 3. He needs to work on it a little bit, become more consistent. And also, he's a guy, if we're talking about being a star, wanting the ball, he was a guy on a Duke team with amazing starting 5 that went to the Sweet 16, or it's been so long since March, the Sweet 16, and was consistently the number 1 scorer for that team.
Did they? I think they went to the Elite 8
because they lost to Kansas. Again, Marvin Bagley showed to me that he could be that guy. Now, the one thing I don't like, again, is that free throw percentage because that really doesn't pan out well to the 3-point in the NBA. But again, he hit enough in college where I'm kind of okay with it. 39.7% from 3. Again, we're talking about athleticism. He's shown that. It's just really that effort defensively, and can he learn to be a decent defender? Now, without Bud being there, Mike Budenholzer, it's going to be a little bit questionable because I thought he was going to be a great guy to mold Marvin Bagley, but I'm not going to go away with that just because of this kid's freakish athletic nature. I'm going to go with Marvin Bagley for the Atlanta Hawks at 3. Let's move now to 4. This is where the Suns finally get in. They got Suns in the lottery. Ricky Widmer, the 4th overall pick. The Phoenix Suns, again, for the 2nd year straight, will take who?
If they were at number 1, we're all talking 8, and even if they were at 2, we get Luka Doncic. I think you still get a good player at 4. I am going away from Chris, going away from Bender, Marvin Bagley. I need an offensive option at my 4, going with the Bagman at the 4.
David Oster at the 4th.
At the 4 with the 4.
The 4th overall pick. Who do you have the Phoenix Suns going with?
God, it's such a toss-up. It truly is, because they could use a 5, but they could also use a 4, because both their 4s suck right now.
They're young. We talked about
young.
it.
They're incredibly
20
young.
years old.
They're incredibly young.
Both Chris and Bender.
Still have potential. I'm going to go, you know what, screw it. I'm going to go Bagley. I'm going to go Marvin Bagley as well. And for this reason, because I think that he can walk in and translate his game to either the 4 or small ball 5. I see a lot of shades of Blake Griffin in him. I think that, honestly...
I like that comp.
Yeah, I checked. I had to double check their college stats real quick beforehand, but
Blake's a little more filled out, but yeah.
Yeah, they're fairly similar. Well, Blake was also a 2-year player in college too.
Yeah.
So I think that when it comes down to it, the Suns pairing him with Devin Booker, Josh Jackson. Like, I think that those guys could roll well together, and I think, like you said, both of your 4s are young, and I could see one of them getting moved for another pick.
And again, we've seen that they have gone away from defense, because if they're going Marvin Bagley, Devin Booker can't play defense.
What?
Marvin Bagley can't play defense. Bender really didn't show that he could play defense. Chris couldn't play defense. The only 2 guys that could have that play defense, again, Josh Jackson and
T.J. Warren, actually.
T.J. Warren, and then I was going to throw Tyson Chandler too.
Oh yeah,
that guy could still block shots.
He's ageless.
Yes, he is. I'm going to go with the best player on the board. Also fits that role of possibly being a 5 and a 4. We're going Jaren Jackson from Michigan State. This kid, again, we talked about him. Dave talked about him. He's got the shot already. He's got the measurables. He's got the defensive abilities. I think he kind of is very similar to what Josh Jackson was last year, at least just in a big man. Again, he showed the outside shot, even though Josh Jackson wasn't a great... Josh Jackson was a weird one because he gives me qualms about Bagley because... he had a really nice 3-point percentage in college, but he also had a terrible free throw percentage, and you could tell that wasn't going to his 3-pointer didn't translate, and it didn't translate at all this year for Josh Jackson. So again, that gives me a little bit of qualms for Bagley. But again, going back to Josh Jackson and Jaren Jackson, guys with a ton of athleticism, ton of wingspan, showed that ability defensively, and then it's really offensively that they showed the ability to do something. Jaren Jackson could be a guy who plays off of players. Josh Jackson showed in college that he could at least drive to the basket, make athletic moves, and shoot from the outside, or at least shoot mid-range for him, and be a guy that can really play off players. I think that Jaren Jackson can do that for the Suns, and they have a number one scorer in Devin Booker, so that's why I think he fits there for the Suns.
To me, there were two guys I was thinking of. I went with Bagley, but Trae Young could also be a pick here for me. And
Talk about no defense.
Well, the reason why I say that is the Suns do have a pick outside the lottery, and for me, it comes down to two things: either like the option I went with, go at Bagley at 4, and then I'll go for like a Shai Gilgeous with my later pick outside the lottery, or if it's like if the Suns value, because now there's the question, if they get the 1, who's Igor going to want? Is he going to go with this guy Luka, or are they going to go with DeAndre Ayton with what the front office has said? We're going to go with a center.
They
and
said
that's
that
be
a couple months ago, though.
I know.
Things have changed.
But I'm just saying, they could go either of those. So really, it's the same decision here, just two different players. Do I go Bagley and a guy like Shai, or Trae Young and a guy like Mitchell Robinson? And that'll be my center more than my 4, which we would have had if they were at 1.
The one thing I am realizing, though, is that the Phoenix Suns not only got screwed in our lottery, they also got screwed with that Bucks thing, where they lost the other pick, too.
Because the Bucks got good.
Yeah, so they could have had 15-16, and also 1. So they have the ability to have those 3 picks. Now they're losing their Bucks pick. They move to, I think, 16 now with the other pick they have, and then they also have the 4th pick, so they get screwed there. But again, Trae Young, I think it'd be interesting just because you have so much scoring
and it depends
at the 1
on
and 2.
Which you value more and which player you value more at 16. Because if they value a Mitchell Robinson over a Shai Gilgeous, then hey, let's go with our ball handler here and go with our big man that we like at 16.
Well, Dave, I want to bring this up because you're not a fan of Mo Bamba at this range.
I almost put him there.
Okay.
So I was tossing up.
Okay, but real quick, I wanted to. The narrative that I want that
all right,
for the question that I'm going to ask, the narrative is that you hate Mo Bamba. You're not even going to put him in your top 10 like you did before.
So
we'll get to what you actually want to say in a few. But
sure.
With Ricky throwing it out there, because you do have Trae Young and Marvin Bagley on the board, you go Marvin Bagley. With what Ricky's proposing, either getting a ball handler at 1 or Marvin Bagley, a guy who played the 4 or the 5, like you said, the small ball 5. Which guy? Like, what are the positives of both, and what are the negatives of both?
I think if you go with a primary ball handler like Trae Young, yes, your offense is now dynamic. You have the best passer in this draft. You have someone who can walk in the league and put up, I think, 8 assists a game, especially with the Suns' offense.
With Dev Book. With
Dev Book standing right next to you. They could run some really dirty stuff back there. The downside, like you said, though, is you have 2 guards who cannot play defense. Not NBA-level defense, just can't play defense. I think that would be a massive problem. I think they're going to see what's left on Brandon Knight and see, if he can kind of carry them through. And then they'll run it back probably with that later pick and go for a guard. The reason I lean more towards Bagley or Bamba here is mostly because I look at the 4 or 5, and I know Tyson Chandler is like 30, whatever. It doesn't matter. He'll play forever, I'm sure. But I still feel for the double miss at the 4, and I think that Bagley can play the 4, but he's also got the height and the speed to play the 5. I think the big question is, do you want your 5 to play defense? Yeah. Because if you believe that you can teach this guy to play defense, there is a lot to love about him. Because offensively, he has an incredible motor, tons of speed, and plays with a high level of intensity, and he has a knack for knowing how to roll to the basket. So I think you live with the risk that you get someone who can at least guarantee one end of the court, and then you hope that you can build the other, because right now you have 2 guys who are potential but haven't shown you anything in 2 years.
And again, the potential thing is huge for MB3. We're going to start calling him MB3 since it's Marvin Bagley III.
I like that.
For MB3, I'm not going to fuck it up. MB3, again, this is a guy that made Coach K, who's run his offense for God how many years, he made him change his He made us change Coach K's defense to a zone. That's how bad Marvin Bagley was defensively. Yeah. So again, I just want to throw that out there that yes, that untapped potential there. I had him going 3rd because of that untapped potential, the ability that he can become offensively. But again, he needed to change his defense. And just for the Suns, if I was picking there and deciding between Bagley and Bamba, you kind of alluded to it. I'd probably go Bamba. Ricky already had him off the board, but I'd probably go Bamba there just because of his defense and his untapped potential. I have him going Jackson, though, because Jackson, again, is already there where he needs to be, shows that defensive ability, and also in Igor's system, he has the ability to move the ball around. Jackson's shown that he's a very he's an able passer. He's a capable passer, and with the motion and with the ball movement that they need in Igor, that's why I have him going with Jaren Jackson.
And I like that motion. I like that with MB3. I just think that at the end of the day, like, I think he was able to go to the zone because he had Wendell Carter next to him, which, you'll have someone in Tyson Chandler. Tyson Chandler right now, and maybe Marquise Chris going forward, who can help complement, and cover up for that lack of defense, or, until he builds up something capable.
And final thoughts on the Suns.
The last question I was going to ask is with that pick that we talked about that they lost, because next year it's going to have the same rules. Milwaukee only gets it if it's 1-3 or 17 through 30, which 6th seed in the East, I think Milwaukee didn't even do with a coach this year.
Exactly.
Well, a head coach this year.
Exactly.
And they did it. So I think they won't get it. The Suns won't get that pick till 2020, where it's 1 through 7 protected, and it's unprotected in 2021.
Okay. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Suns do. Again, they still do have that 16th pick, but we're only doing lottery. Well, let's move into the 5th pick. The Memphis Grizzlies get screwed. Again, we don't dislike any team, and the way this fell, it just kind of feels like, someone commented, "Oh, you guys hate the Phoenix Suns." We don't. We don't hate the Phoenix Suns. If we hated any NBA team, it'd be the Orlando Magic. And they just got the number 2 overall pick. And I've cracked so much on the Memphis Grizzlies, from the Fizdale firing to the mishandling of Tyreek Evans deal, not trading him. I've bashed their front office. The Grizzlies get stuck with the 5th pick. And Dave, you mentioned something along the lines of that you're gonna. They get screwed in your mind with this one.
I feel like at the end of the last conversation, you kind of left me off with, I probably should have put someone like Mohamed Bamba to the Phoenix Suns, which would have left Bagley available for the Grizzlies.
Good fit there.
Would have been a good fit. But he's not available now.
He's not available, so who are you going with for the Memphis Grizzlies at the 5th overall pick?
I've got the Memphis Grizzlies going with a Michael Porter Jr.
What a junior.
I've got them going for a guy with a ton of potential. A straight-up scorer, somebody who can walk in the league and be a contributor, but also has the ability to grow exponentially. So I think right now you take the best player available, and for me, that is Michael Porter Jr.
Ricky Widmer, who do you have the Memphis Grizzlies going with?
For me, it's on the other side of it, to where I'm looking again at the 4. And I mean, if they were at the 2, they would have had it there. But, going with Jaren Jackson, have that 4. You don't need a 5. You got Gasol. You really got positions everywhere else. It's really that 4 to me. You need someone down there, and you can add a guy like Triple J, who could be a defensive guy, but could also add some offense too.
Now, this is, again, based before the combine, so we don't know what he's going to look like.
Yeah.
But you talked about bringing a 4 onto the squad. You talked about the potential. I think the Memphis Grizzlies need a star. They're going Michael Porter Jr. at that 5th overall pick. Because, again, they need a 4. Not Mo Bamba. Jaren Jackson, off the board. Marvin Bagley, off the board. DeAndre Ayton, who wants to be a 4, off the board.
Porter could also play 3, so 3-4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I was going to get to that. Michael Porter Jr., right now, what we saw in college, to me, is a 4. I didn't, from what we saw, again, he was at 65%, didn't show the speed that he could be a 3. I know people have mentioned in our comments before, he could play 3. Again, he's 6'11", and didn't look quick enough to play the 3 in the NBA. He didn't look quick enough to play the 3 in college, so I don't know how it's going to translate. Again, it's going to be dependent on how he comes out and shows up in the lottery, but it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out. Again, I think they're going to try to tap into that potential. At worst, you have a great scorer, a great shooter at that 4 position, and if he is healthy, he can possibly be a pretty decent defender, can run the break, and could be a decent stretch 4 in the NBA. So I think it could be very interesting, and I think pairing that with Marc Gasol, pairing that with Mike Conley, who is a great passer, and then, hell, if Tyreek Evans is still there, if Reek's still there, if Chandler Parsons is ever healthy, it could be a pretty good team, depending how he does day 1, Michael Porter Jr.
Well, and it also, I look at it, and it's like, oh, well, they got Chandler Parsons at the 3. He's always injured anyway, so it's like, what's the point? And it all depends on after the combine. And, I mean, of course, this is before the combine, but to me, if Michael Porter Jr. shows tremendous upside, he won't be available here because somebody in the top 3 is going to take him, maybe even 1 or 2.
Again, we threw that out there for the Magic.
Okay. at the combine. I don't think he will blow my socks off. I think he will look okay, which means he would fit in right here at number 5.
Well, let's talk about that because we talked about back when he was coming back. He announced that he was healthy enough to do practice. Then Martin from Missouri said he's going to be playing. He ends up playing in the SEC tournament, plays one game in the NCAA tournament. We didn't see that much from him, and it was kind of exactly what we said would be worse for him if he came out looking slow, didn't show his athleticism that we saw early in his high school days. If he didn't come out and show that, that would hurt his draft stock. It pretty much did.
Oh, absolutely.
So now, what do we need to see from him in the combine? Is it specifically his hip movement, how he's moving defensively, how he's moving in drills? Is it his speed, how well he's running up and down the court, how well he's shooting, because even that was affected by his back injury? What do you need to see from Michael Porter Jr.? Is it everything needs to be there, or is it just some things need to be there?
I think it's a fairly clean bill of health, to be honest with you. I think across the board, like his lateral motion needs to be there. He needs to be able to do like cone drills. He needs that short burst of speed because without that, getting open looks is going to be more difficult. The slower you are, yes, you have good size as your advantage, but at the same time, if you don't have the speed to turn, pivot, come off of a pick and roll cleanly, then you're not going to be able to contribute at a high level in the NBA. So I think across the board, there's a lot of things he needs to show at this combine.
Here's another thing that I'm just thinking of right now, and the Grizzlies at 5 could still do this because you're bringing in a new coach. You're probably not expecting to compete, especially in the tough West, especially next year.
Why not?
Real quick. Mike Conley was injured. Marcus Gasol didn't play. They lost
I'm
their
not saying
coach.
they can't.
And they started off pretty hot this year.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. If I was a Grizzly fan at 5, I'd be okay with them taking MPJ, and then we're right here next year getting another guy hopefully in the top 5.
I don't know.
And getting, because basically with MPJ, you're basically doing the Ben Simmons thing is we're just going to let you sit all year.
Why?
Why would you do that?
Because
if he's healthy, why would you do that?
Yeah.
But if he's not, I'm saying if he's
not healthy, then he might not even be taken in
I'm
the top
saying
10.
if there's still a question with his health, I'd still think about taking him here because I can just shelf him, have him work on the injury, take the full year like Ben Simmons did, and then come out and get a high draft pick to get another guy next year.
I don't foresee that happening because he came
I'm
back
just saying it's a possibility.
at the early end of his recovery time, at the projected time for his recovery. So being that, we're going to combine in a little bit, it's not even combine time this week. He's got more time now. I'm not concerned about his health in the combine. I'm not concerned about his health in summer league for sure. He is going to be in game shape by the end of summer league. I'm not zero concerns, zero thoughts of him eating bench. And I think that him on this Grizzlies team will not be in the top 5 of the NBA draft next year. This is a team that claws and scratches their way into playoffs where they have no right to be because Marc Gasol is one of the most underrated centers of the league. Mike Conley, yes, he got his payday, but he is good enough to the point where he can get you to the playoffs.
He's near a top 10 guard. I think he's around that 12, 13 mark where we put him last year.
He's just outside my mind. And again, like you said, if they can re-sign Reek, they're in business.
Yeah. Well, and the one thing, too, is Ben Simmons, he didn't get hurt in college. He didn't get hurt in summer league. He got hurt 3 days before the season even started. Markelle Fultz, that was just some weird shit that was going on. We really didn't know what was happening with him. Those were weird injuries. That's why they got, redshirted. Even then, Fultz came back and played. So I think if he's working out at the combine, if he ended his season playing for Missouri, and if he goes through not summer camp,
Combine,
summer league. If he goes through summer league, he's gonna play this year. I don't think they're gonna redshirt him.
If that possibility is there, they could still do that because it still wouldn't hurt them.
If he's still hurt, then maybe
really
they do that. But
concerned.
I don't think he's gonna be still hurt. And if he is, there's going to be I think he's going to fall significantly if something pops up in the medicals at the combine, or if he's still not healthy when when the draft comes around. I think he's going to take a fall.
Yeah, I mean he has to because a guy who we always like to do the comparison, Harry Giles, a guy who was the number 1 guy coming out of high school, but he had chronic injuries, and when he came out, he had played a couple games that year. He had showed something, not a ton, obviously, but he showed something. And I think that at the end of the day, if you can come into the NBA, if you can get in the draft with that problem, oh my God, I can't even talk.
That problem? If you get into the draft with that problem?
Yeah, I think you fall. I think you have to. Even the thing is, OG got hurt partway through a season, and guess what? He came back ahead of schedule, healthy, and started the season with the Raptors. So if you're telling me the guy who got hurt later than you with a bigger injury at the time for him He dropped all the way to 15. We were talking about him at being like a 7, an 8 guy.
Yeah.
So he dropped back about 7 spots. So we're talking about a guy, Michael Porter, who could drop anywhere from, 2, 3, 4, 5 to anywhere around, maybe 10 at the latest.
Well, and OG Anunoby too. I mean, he was a sophomore too when he came out, so there was enough film on him.
That's
we
true.
saw what he was able to do. So with Porter Jr., we've only saw 2 games out of him. So it's, I don't think they're going to redshirt him right away. Anyways, we talked about Michael Porter Jr. We talked about the Grizzlies at 5. Now it's time for your Chicago Bulls, Ricky. So the Bulls are on the clock at 6, and of course you have this player available. So why wouldn't you take him?
Well, and that's it. I'm going Michael Porter Jr. I know there might be some people that say, oh, Trae Young's still there. Let's take him. No, we don't need Trae Young. We'll go with Michael Porter. Pair him at the 3, Levine at the 2, Chris Dunn at the 1. That's our backcourt and our wings.
David, who are you going with the Bulls?
I'm going to go with Mikal Bridges. I think he is the ideal fit for them with what's left on my board. They could go with Mo Bamba here. They could absolutely use a 5 to replace Rolo. It's honestly a toss at that point. I just value the wings so much more. I think Mo Bamba has a higher upside. I'll admit that. Than
Especially
Mikal Bridges.
the 3 and D that Bridges can bring.
But Bridges just walks in the league and looks like a solid contributor. He can come in and be an instant upgrade over the Zip God at the 3.
Well, for sure. I don't think anyone's arguing that. The fact that Paul Zips are still starting for them is very questionable.
We don't have anyone else.
Yeah, I know. But again, this is going to be one where we disagree, all 3 of us, because you mentioned it. It's the potential.
Yeah.
And we talked about Mikal Bridges. I love the player. He's gonna be a starter in the NBA for 10 years.
Yep.
Without a doubt in my mind, his 3 and D abilities, his ability to shoot, his athleticism, moving right to left, laterally, vertically, he has the ability to be a great defender in the NBA, without a question in my mind. But where is that cap? Where is that ceiling? We've talked at his ceiling. He's a number 2 option on a team. And while that is valuable for a wing position, I think if you have your number 2 option, because we talked about this consistently, you can't have your best player be a center. Or we talked about this. I mean, really, the only team that's done it so far has been the Pelicans, and really, again, they're capped. We don't
now
know
they're
where
getting dad dicked on by the Golden State
the
Warriors.
Warriors. So we talked about that. But I have the Bulls going with Mo Bamba here, center from Texas, because of his top end. And I think right now, having the double duo of Lauri and Mo Bamba at that 4 and 5 could be absolutely deadly. And I don't think the Bulls are going to be great in the year after this draft. And they still have the ability to take that game-changing guard. And even then, Chris Dunn showed a lot of potential when he was healthy early in the season. And Zach LaVine, again, was really banged up, and we don't know what his top end could be. So they could still address that 3 position next year in the draft.
Or at the 22?
Or at the 22 as well.
Well,
because they have that pick from the Pelicans.
I was going to bring that up. The one thing that I do like about your pick with Mo Bamba, of course, if MPJ is there, I'm taking him all day, every day. But in your guys' situation, he's off the board. Most of the top 3 bigs are off the board as well. This I like because Mo Bamba's the guy who's talked about he can run the floor. He wants to be able to be that guy that can shoot threes. To me, Mo Bamba could be the perfect 5 for Fred Hoiberg's system of wanting to run the floor, wanting to stretch it out, wanting to shoot threes. And then defensively, we got a rim stopper at the basket who can jump ridiculously high and reach the top of the box on the back.
He doesn't need to jump. The guy's got a 7'6" wingspan. It's unreal.
No.
But I think, again, he's going to hide deficiencies in Lauri's game defensively, even though Lauri's not that, he wasn't terrible defensively this year. And also, one thing, again, is he doesn't need to be a shooter, Mo Bamba does, because of Lauri. And you're going to have Lauri, who's already a great shooter. He can learn from a great shooter in Lauri with a similar build, again, big man. And also, if they're playing in garbage time, Mo Bamba could start shooting threes. Like, it's going to be a perfect fit where he doesn't need to be on the Cleveland Cavaliers, where he needs to be already on an NBA team being a contributor. He can be a guy that steps up and starts at least working into an NBA system. He can be in a Fred Hoiberg system that is friendly to three-point shooters. And if he wants to be that player, you can help nurture that ability. And I think that's probably the best for his offensive game. And defensively, I think that's going to be best for him. So, maybe he could be a top big man in this league, maybe top 5 if we're comparing him to Joel Embiid. You're still going to need to find that Ben Simmons to Mo Bamba, but having, again, a guy like Laurie, who's playing next to him at the 4, a great center in Mo Bamba, and having two good guards in Zach LaVine and Chris Dunn could be a dynamic pair, and you could always find threes in this draft.
And then,
I'm not sure about always find threes.
Well,
not in this draft, but you can find threes to play in the NBA.
I guess, but I mean that doesn't explain why we've been playing with the Zip God and Denzel Valentine for 2 years.
Well, that's also because of guard packs.
Yeah. I guess. I think I like the pick of Bamba there because he doesn't have to be the guy on this team.
Yeah.
No.
He doesn't have to develop into a number 1 or a number 2.
Mm-hmm.
He can be a 3 or a 4 on this team, contribute at a high level on defense, and like you said, be able to stretch the floor out to that 3-point line, even out to the 20-foot line, somewhere in that range. He's comfortable because I do think if we do re-sign Zach LaVine, he's our number 1 offensive weapon.
Yep.
And Laureate too, like they're a 1-2 punch. Chris Dunn provides decent follow through the lane, and I just think that it is the ideal situation for him to not be in a spot where he has to provide offense early in his career. I think he needs a slow learning curve, and I think that hiding him in a team where you have a top scorer is ideal.
And the two things I was just thinking of, one I was going to say, but as Dave was talking, I thought of another one, is if they do take Mo Bamba, I want Kyrie Thomas with that Pelicans pick. Because I want that guy that I can develop into maybe that 3-and-D type of player. But also, if we go Mo Bamba at 6, maybe in the offseason we can make a push to get Paul George and fill that 3 spot with Paul George.
Push Rolo out? No.
Well, if it's a sign and trade or just a sign Paul George, whatever Paul George wants to do with the Thunder, we could make a push for him.
Would that speed up the process? Because that was talked to somebody. I think Mike 2K, Mike 2K97 threw it out on Twitter to you and I and Dave, but Dave's not on Twitter. Dave,
if we don't make the playoffs with that, I'm pissed off.
About should the Bulls look to sign Paul George? I said no. Put the crock pot on low. Let it simmer. You're going to have a nice, bountiful feast come to you in 2 to 3 years. Don't rush the process. Have these guys develop. If Paul George is there, it's going to screw it up, and they're going to try to play through Paul George, and I don't think it's going to let those guys grow.
I don't know. And the reason why I say that is your and my drafts have played out completely different. MPJ's on the board. Okay, take MPJ. Do what you're saying. Put it in the crock pot. Let it slow. If I go Mo Bamba at 6, I still need that 3 guy. Let's go get a Paul George. Let's kind of light the fire under this so that maybe we could move up a little bit and maybe compete. Plus, the Bulls, they like to compete. They like to make the 8th seed even when most people don't think they
could have made the 8th seed this year.
Yeah.
They just literally didn't want to.
Well, we were tanking, and then got yelled at.
Didn't want to.
Yeah.
Final thing is you have them going with what we think at his top.
Yes.
His top thing. Again, he's not on the board for Dave and I. But at his top, he can be a number 1 on a team, like Porter Jr. We have them going away from that. Do you think if they draft Michael Porter Jr., they're drafting him with the mindset that he is going to be the number 1 option for this team for 15 years?
Yes. That's why I have him here, is because I don't see any of the other teams really needing that quite like the Bulls. The Bulls need a guy that's going to be that, plus they happen to need a guy at the 3, so it fits 2 things.
So he supplants Zach LaVine, Lauri Markkanen. He becomes the guy.
He eventually becomes the guy. He's not going to be the guy right away, maybe, depending on what we see at the Combine. But
with all the hype on him, number 1 player out of high school.
If it takes him a few years, I wouldn't be upset.
Do you think, I guess, what's your safe estimate of, points per game that he would drop his rookie year?
I have no idea. The only reason why I've only seen 2 games of him this year, and I haven't seen him at the Combine.
And now you have them going Michael Porter Jr. You just talked about them redshirting him. Did the Bulls redshirt him the first year?
Maybe not, but it's never out of the question for me. To me, it's never out of the question.
How does Michael Porter Jr. fit for the Bulls then?
He's an ideal fit if he's there. I think that he loves the city, so you've got a win right there. You've got a guy who wants to be
close
in Chicago.
to home.
Then we can take John Tay
Yeah.
with the Pelicans pick, bring them both here.
Not going to be available.
I love the way he thinks sometimes. No, ideal fit. He's got amazing size. It comes down to that quickness. Can he be? I think even if you roll with him at the 4 and Laurie at the 5, you're still fine. But I have hopes that he will be a 3. I really do. I think that whether it comes down to conditioning, shape, all of that stuff will pay in. But hopefully he can be a long-term 3-4 and contribute high-level scorer. I think honestly he's a guy who could come in and by year 3 be dropping like 19 points a game. Like I could easily see him being the number 1 scorer on the team in his first couple of years.
And finally, we're in this segment at least, we're gonna sneak in the Kings here at 7th overall. The Sacramento Kings are picking. Last year they were picking at 5, or was it 6? 5 or 6, and they selected good old De'Aaron Fox from the Kentucky Wildcats. So we're gonna go to Dave. I think it was 5 too. We're gonna go to Dave here. Who was 6? It doesn't matter.
Jonathan Isaac.
Yes, they were 5 because then Isaac goes 6 and then 7. The Bulls take a look.
Yep.
All right, cool. Thanks, Dave. That would have bugged the shit.
It's weird that I know names right now.
Thank you. So we're gonna go to you first. The Sacramento Kings at 7. One of our favorite teams here on the Fast Break Podcast, outside of the Bulls and Magic. The Sacramento Kings at 7. We talked about them, I think, 2 weeks ago, maybe a week ago. Just 2 weeks ago, about best fits for them here on the board at 7. Who do they go with?
I've got them going with Mohamed Bamba. Got him finally dropping to the Kings. I know there's a lot of contested feelings about Willie Cauley-Stein's future.
This is also the first time Dave's had him in the top 10.
That's incorrect.
That's incorrect.
I know last time for sure you had him.
I had him in the
outside the top
I had him
10.
in the top 10 4.0.
It was 3. It was 3.0.
Oh,
3 I
okay.
bumped him out.
No. 3 you had him in. 3 you had him going
12. You
7
had him
to the
12
Mavericks.
last time, and then you had him in for 3.0.
12 was it?
Yeah.
So I've got him going here to the Kings. I think that because they lost out on Michael Porter and Mikal Bridges, he becomes the best viable option for them. Defensively, we've talked about it. We gushed about it. He's got the right body size, and he fits the timeline. Like, he comes into a team where you've already got your point guard of the future. You've got your 2 of the future. You potentially have a 3, depending on how you want to roll, or you have multiple 2s then. Worst case scenario.
Buddy Hield and Bogdanovich.
Yeah. And at the 4, you hope on the development of Skal and Harry Giles coming back healthy from this injury. You know, I honestly would love this to happen if the Kings walked with Bamba here, because it fills out their lineup really well. Yes, they still could use a 3 if you don't want to roll with Bogey at the 3. But at the same time, like, they're a deep team, they're a young team. I think that he is an ideal fit to add some defensive toughness and stretch out the floor for them. Because honestly, like, De'Aaron Fox driving to the rim is scary as hell already. Could you imagine him coming off of a pick and roll with Bamba, since he puts on a little bit of weight, so he's, wider than a twig. But once he does that, the outside shooting, he can pop out, sneak out to the outside. Like, it's dangerous.
Ricky Widmer, who do you have him going with?
The first thing I want to say before I say who I'm having him pick is, if what happens in all of our drafts happens in real life,
Well,
Trae Young,
one of them has to be right.
Well, no, I'm saying, but if Trae Young falls to this pick, if I'm Vlade Divac, I'm picking up the phone. Who wants Trae Young? This is going to be a prime pick for someone to try to trade up and get Trae Young before the Cavs. But if the Kings sit there and make the pick, I got to go with him because he's still on my board, Mikal Bridges. Just a guy, Bamba's off, Porter's off. Go with the best guy available. Well, best guy available, not Trae Young, because you don't need Trae Young. You just got De'Aaron Fox last year. Go with the 3-and-D player, but field offers for Trae Young and try to get more picks, future
See if you
picks
can
for
entice
him.
the Hornets in.
Or the Clippers.
Or the
Clippers.
13 and 12 they do have with this lottery.
Yeah.
I have them, and again, we talked about this, and I was so torn at where the Kings should go with, because I think they're going a 5 or they're going a 3.
Right.
It's again, like you mentioned, De'Aaron Fox at the 1, Bogdanovich and Buddy Hield at the 2. At the 4 they have Skal, they have Harry Giles.
Yep.
At the 5 they have Willie Cauley-Stein, but again, he's not locked down and he might not fit the timeline contract wise. Again, he could be the guy that they give money to first, so that could always be a possibility. So that leaves openings at the 3. And at the 3, they have Mikal Bridges as a possibility. Ricky just had him going with Mikal Bridges. You have the Bulls going with Mikal Bridges, so he's not on the board. Kevin Knox is a guy that I talked about a lot too because of his potential, and then also Miles Bridges as well. Miles again has probably I think it would, I think how I ranked it last time was Kevin Knox 1, no, Mikal 1, then Kevin Knox, then Miles.
Yeah.
Because Mikal, he's going to be a safer pick for you, but he's going to bring what you need in 3-and-D. Kevin Knox has a ton of potential and probably brings more of what Miles does, but more athleticism. And Miles is safer than Kevin Knox because again he's more well-rounded. Spent 2 years in college.
He's more physically built.
Physically built. But I think I'm going to have him going Kevin Knox here.
I like it
at 7 because Kevin Knox again his potential is unreal. His ability to score what he showed in Kentucky is really impressive. He has the ability to drive. He has the ability to shoot from the outside. It's not great, but again, he could step into it, and I liked what I saw, at least motion-wise from him. And he has the ability to become a pretty decent defender. And while Mikal Bridges is ready now and pretty set now, I still think that Kevin Knox fits their timeline because Harry Giles, who might be their starting four for a while, is going to be playing in his first year. De'Aaron Fox is going to be playing in his second year. Bogdanovich in his second year. Buddy Hield in his full second year with the Kings. At that 5 spot, again, Cauley-Stein is probably the guy with the most, at least, experience there. We don't know where he will be, if he will be on this team when his contract comes out.
Fair, Bogdanovich is a bit older, though.
He is. And he spent a lot of time overseas. But, again, that was his first year in the NBA. Again, the reason why he had such a great year is because he is so experienced. Exactly. But, again, that was his first year with the Kings. I think that they should go with Kevin Knox, and I don't know if they will, but I think this is one where my, at least, feelings are coming out. This fits their timeline more. You bring up the fact that Bogdanovich is 26, but again, they still have his contract. They still have time on him
for years.
So I still think that this fits their timeline more. Mikal Bridges, again, is a safer pick, but I have them going with Kevin Knox because of his potential. But should they be going potential, Ricky, or should they be going with the safer pick?
I'll be completely honest. The thought that just came through my head, I hope this doesn't happen, but with Vlade Divac, you never know. He could go, we could really use the 3. I really like international players. The pick is Zana Musa. I could totally see him going kind of like the Papagiannis route of like, what the hell did the Kings just do? For me, I like Kevin Knox.
Hold on.
But
it's completely different from Papagiannis.
I know.
I had him second round.
Exactly.
Zana Musa has been in
but
like
Zana
top
Musa
15.
I would not take in the top 10. I would not take top 10.
I wouldn't either.
Over Knox, McHale, or Miles.
I wouldn't either.
Probably not.
But
exactly.
It's not too crazy.
But
they still have Josh Jackson at the 3 who they just drafted.
But when it comes to Knox and Bridges, I just like Bridges a lot better. Like the what he brings to a team can step in right away, and that 3-and-D ability. Like it is crucial in this NBA to have one guy on that outside that can develop into, I'm going to use the Klay Thompson comparison again. Have that guy who it's like, you know what? You're locking him down. Because De'Aaron Fox is not a lockdown defender. So if they can have someone to where it's like, hey, Mikal, you're going to be on the best guy.
You think De'Aaron Fox is not a lockdown defender?
Not a lockdown defender like Klay Thompson.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I mean, okay, in college,
if you pair
Mikal
Bridges and De'Aaron Fox together, that's one of the best backcourt defensive combos
but I'm
saying, in the league already.
To me, I feel like overall Mikal Bridges is going to be better defensively.
That's pretty bold because the biggest thing coming out of De'Aaron Fox was a lockdown defender and speed.
But that is what I'm saying is Mikal's going to be the guy where it's like you are on the number 1.
So Mikal is going to be on the. I'm just saying what you're saying right now is just telling me that Mikal Bridges is going to be Defensive Player of the Year.
They'll also say that because it's like, you know what, we'll put Mikal on the number 1. That way, De'Aaron Fox doesn't have to. Yeah, he can guard the number.
Mikal's got the body to guard more people, I think is maybe what you're saying.
He's more versatile, yes.
Because just size-wise, he is bigger than De'Aaron Fox.
Yes.
But also, like what I'm going to.
De'Aaron Fox is still like 6'5".
De'Aaron Fox, you'll guard the second best option.
Skinny, though.
That way you don't have to exert so much energy. We'll let Bridges do that, and then you could use that leftover energy on offense.
Sorry, De'Aaron Fox is 6'3".
Oh, okay.
Again, we don't know if that's with shoes or without shoes.
Yeah.
But Mikal is 6'7". 6'7",
so, I mean, he can guard a wing. He can guard. I don't know, his ability to guard a quick one, but whatever. Point being, you think he's a defensive god, apparently.
I do.
I'm curious. Do you, as far as you said, you need that 3-and-D guy, like him versus the pick of Kevin Knox, a guy who could develop into a lot of things. I think he has more potential as far as what he could be. He could be a point forward. He could be a guy who has a pretty unique skill set, more than just a 3-and-D role player. Do you think that the
Kings want another project, or do they want someone that can step in and be less of a project? I'm going with less of a project.
Yeah, and I understand that. Yeah. And again, I said Mikal Bridges is a safer pick. But again, I think the Kings aren't going to, if they draft Mikal Bridges, they're not a playoff team.
No. So if they draft Kevin Knox, they're not a playoff team. Like if they draft anyone here, Trae Young, they're not a playoff team. I know, but what I'm saying is the fact that they're not going to be a playoff team, so they don't need someone to step in right away and be a guy that produces. So go with Kevin Knox. He's going to be a guy that you could develop and tap into that potential.
He could be more than just a 3-and-D player.
To me, I really like what
he could be a number 1.
Yeah, and I like what Mikal Bridges brings to it because to me, you have two guys on this team that could be number ones already in Fox and Buddy Hield. I'm not going to add another guy who could potentially be the number 3 because it's like, who's going to be the number 3? We don't know. Or number 1. We don't know.
We know Ricky Widmer does love his Buddy Hield.
Put some respect on it.
All right, but we talked about at least the 3. The one thing that I want to go to you, Dave, because you have him going Mo Bamba off the board for Ricky and I. Who do you like better for a fit, at least at the 3 spot for the Kings? Are you going to go with the untapped potential, or are you going to go with Mikal Bridges if Mikal was on the board? Yeah. So between Ricky and I, are you going to go with Ricky, or are you going to go with me? Not pitting us against each other.
Hashtag We Agree podcast.
But just because you're going with Kevin Knox?
I would go Kevin Knox. I think Mikal Bridges is good, and I think his fit on the team would be good, but I'm intrigued by what Kevin Knox, size-wise, skill-wise, can bring to the table. I think if you develop him well, and that's the problem, if you develop him well, asterisk, you're on the Kings.
Yeah.
Can they do something right for the first time in a while? If they can develop him well, he could be something special. He could be something in the line of a point forward who is ball dominant, who could be a guy who can contribute across the board instead of just a limited role, even though in that role he could really exceed at in a Mikal Bridges, a guy who you think, kind of in the mold of a Klay Thompson. I still think the upside for someone like Kevin Knox being in that unique role could be better.
Well, and the one thing I do love about this podcast is when we talk, we kind of hear some things that we pick up on, and we just start thinking, and we can develop our ideas a little bit more. Mikal coming in is 6'7" with a 7'2" wingspan. Kevin Knox coming in right now. These are pre-combine measurements, but coming in 6'9", and this is according to the Ringers draft guide, 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan. So the one thing, though, is we see Mikal being a 2-3 combo, where I see Kevin Knox as a true 3. And with how many fucking 2s they have on this team, I think they just need to bear down and take a 3. Take the project in Kevin Knox as the 3. I know it's positionless basketball now, so it really doesn't matter too much. But I just think that Kevin Knox is more of a fluid fit, and again, fits the timeline. But again, Mikal Bridges, if they go with Mikal Bridges, it's not a wrong pick.
I'll be completely honest. If I'm going with my number 1 choice, though, it's not making a pick at all. It's trading it for something else, future picks for a team that wants Trae Young.
We will do trades at some point in one of these mock
I'm
drafts.
not saying we have to. I'm just saying that's what I would do
love
if
the
I was
comment
the
section
Kings.
with do one with trades.
There you go. We will. I mean, I think we planned on our last one being trade ones.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's going to be a mess. Anyways, let's move into the 8th pick, the Cleveland Cavaliers, with LeBronto James, or possibly not LeBronto James, picking
it is
at
tonight.
the 8th overall.
The Meteor.
No, but I'm saying if he's not on the team.
They're up 82-59 as we record. I hate doing this. 82-59.
What has LeBron got?
Big numbers.
Did you see what Enes Kanter said today? He's welcoming LeBron to the
And didn't Enes also was like shit talking LeBron when he was in New York this year?
LeBron's got like 28 and
whatever,
6.
they're on different teams.
28 and 6?
And it's still like 6 minutes left in the third.
What he's shooting?
8 of 13.
Oh!
Perfect from the line.
GOAT!
He's not the GOAT, but he's
the
a
GOAT.
really
Steals.
good player right now.
All right, anyways, we're going to the Cavs at 8 overall. Dave Oster, we're going to go to you. Back-to-back picks here. Who are the Cavs going with the 8th overall pick?
I have them going Trae Young because I think LeBron will be there. I think you go ahead and add someone at the point guard who takes the ball out of LeBron's hands a little bit more because, honestly, the experiment going with, someone like George Hill, who we thought was the ideal fit, we've already seen that lineup rotate and change because he wasn't able to perform at the level required of a team like this Cleveland Cavaliers competing in the playoffs. I think you add someone like Trae Young, who stretches the floor out to about the mid-court line, where you have to legitimately guard the kid. And he has elite passing skills. Like, we talk about how amazing of a passer Ben Simmons was coming out. Like, Trae Young is like a notch below that. It's not that far. I think he is actually a better, probably I'll go on par with Lonzo Ball coming out of college. Their passing skills, the IQ of an offense. Like, I would love to see what this kid can do in an actual offense because he played at a school where he was the offense, and he was still averaging 9 assists a game, being double teamed
around him either,
and just jacking up shots from the outside as the only option. So him on a team like the Cavs, where they're positioned with wings on the outside, taking 3-point shots where he can create open looks, and him falling to them is ideal.
Well, and hell, I mean, it's going to give open up the option for LeBron to play off ball again.
Yeah.
And also, it's just going to help Kevin Love out too. So,
Yes.
I mean, it's going to help that whole team. Ricky, you already spoiled this in the last pick with the Kings. You already said that it's going to be Trae Young if no one
It's
trades out.
Trae Young, and just to go off of what Dave was saying, he is J.R. Smith and Kyle Korver's wet dream because they can just sit there and he'll drive in, pass out. Korver just needs to catch and shoot.
I mean,
He's coming off the
doesn't
run.
LeBron already do that?
Yeah,
Exactly.
I think their wet dream is already on the team with LeBron James.
But this is a guy, not LeBron, that can do the same thing. When LeBron's not on the floor,
Hold on.
I'm just saying, passing-wise, when LeBron's not on the floor, Trae Young can do that same thing.
No, I know.
He can do that exact same thing.
Just clarify. There's saying
Trae Young is going to be the third GOAT we add to the list. That's what I'm saying. Sarcasm.
Some people
He's replacing
things.
Isaiah Thomas and Kyrie Irving in a long line of amazing Cavs point guards. I'm sorry, Derrick Rose also in there.
That's what I want to bring up though,
MVP.
is because I have him going Trae Young too.
Oh,
so
we agree.
And having them disagree with how different
is this
this
the
has
only
been.
besides two?
1-2.
1 and 2.
Okay.
So this is the first time we've agreed since 1 and 2. But that's impressive the way
So
that this all
definitely
fell
not
out.
taking Trae Young.
That they've all agreed. They're not getting.
Because we're all agreeing on this.
And we'll get to why they're not probably taking Trae Young in a little bit. But I have him going Trae Young because not only is the best player on the board, but also, again, hold on, I want to clarify that because I still think Colin Sexton's a better player. I think he's a better NBA player. But I think the one thing is Trae Young fits more teams. So I think that's what I'll say. And I think he's also going to be the best player on most NBA teams' boards. So that's why I think that's why I'm saying Trae Young is the best player on the board. But Trae Young, again, not only does he fit LeBron when LeBron's holding the ball because of his ability to shoot, not only does he take off pressure from LeBron passing-wise, but also this is a guy that LeBron loves. This is a guy that LeBron openly talked about this year in interviews. He loves what Trae Young brings to the floor. This is going to make LeBron James happy.
And just because you brought Colin Sexton into it and Dave compared Trae Young a little bit to Lonzo Ball, I literally, I
Passing
feel
ability.
but I
I'm going to
feel
clarify
like,
because one of them can shoot.
well, yeah, Trae Young can shoot. But I feel like this is almost, it's not exactly similar or exactly the same, but it's similar to what the differences between Lonzo and De'Aaron Fox was last year, to where I feel like Colin Sexton is more in that De'Aaron Fox mold.
You're just thinking that because of the
Trae
SEC
Young,
and the hair.
Well, no. Trae Young is
100%.
also more in the Lonzo Ball role because the one thing that they were talking about when the Lakers drafted him is we didn't expect the shot to be as bad, but it's like, he's got to fix it. But he's got it. Can hit from three and he can pass. That's what Trae Young is.
And he can rebound really
And Colin
well.
Sexton is a guy where De'Aaron Fox was more of that driver type of a player. So that's why to me I feel like the same thing why Lonzo was picked higher is what I'm saying, is why Trae Young will go above Colin Sexton.
I see the similarities what you're throwing out though,
Because Lonzo and Trae Young fit this NBA a little bit better.
I see the similarities that you're throwing out. I understand where you're coming from. I just want to say, completely different players though.
Yeah.
Like Lonzo
they
is
are.
not similar
But
to Trae
I'm
Young.
saying,
I know.
like,
I just want to clarify for everybody.
in the fact
I'm not
that,
saying you're wrong. I'm
in
just
the
saying
fact
for
that
everybody.
one fits better in the NBA in this NBA than the other, although the other can play in this NBA.
Yeah, and again, you look at who's a better athlete? It's a better athlete. You'd say Colin Sexton, De'Aaron Fox are better athletes than Lonzo and Trae Young, even though Trae Young's still athletic.
Yeah.
And also Trae Young brings the Lonzo, the passing abilities. Real quick, if you were drafting today, they're both same age, same draft class. Who are you taking, Trae Young or Lonzo Ball?
Trae Young.
Trae Young
for
most teams. I
don't
think
know.
Lonzo. I would still
No, just
go
say it's a blank canvas. You're picking. There's
Is
no
this
one
the
on
guy
your
I'm starting
team.
my team with?
You're an expansion team. Seattle Supersonics are coming back. You have a pick of there's only two players available on the board.
Trae Young.
Weirdly enough, for Trae Young or Lonzo Ball. Who are you building your team around?
I would go Trae Young. I think he's the guy who has the highest upside. Like Lonzo Ball can do everything. Yes, but he will never be your number one scorer on a team. Trae Young can lead your team in points, assists, and most likely turnovers.
This is going to be a video. During the offseason.
Yep. Oh,
we
I
need to fill
guarantee it.
time. This is going to be a video.
I'm going to go with Trae Young only because although what?
No, just go finish.
Because I feel like although he's not a straight same thing will happen, he is closer to Steph Curry than Lonzo Ball will ever be.
I just want to say Ricky Widmer put Lonzo Ball in his top 10 for starting point guards before he played a game.
I was really high on him to come into the season.
Trae Young's going to be a top 3 point guard in these fucking rankings this year.
Numero uno, baby.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. He's going to be the Kyrie got injured.
So he's going to beat Steph.
Yeah.
So he's going to be better than Steph.
He literally replaces Steph before he plays the game.
The next coming.
Oh, Jesus
No,
Christ.
it's Steph 1, Trae Young 2.
I think,
God.
Sean, who would you go with? Given the option of the
Ball or
expansion
Young?
team, Ball or Young, who would you go with?
I'm nervous now.
The
I don't
one
want to.
thing
I
for
don't
me-
want to do
All right.
positional rankings now.
I'll give you a little bit of time to think then. Because
No, I know the answer.
Okay.
It's Trae Young.
Yeah. All right, so you are going Trae Young.
Because if I'm drafting a guy to build a team around, it's Trae Young. I want that scoring ability. Now, if he's not my number one option, I'd probably go Lonzo, to be honest with you, because I think he's a better defender. He brings more to my team. He's a better rebounder, and also he's a better passer. So it's dependent on the
is
team.
he a better teammate? I want Lonzo
Lonzo, yes.
Ball. That's
Lonzo's
the
a better
thing.
teammate.
Do you think? I think that Lonzo
I don't
might have
have a
some leadership
question.
skills that Trae Young doesn't have right now.
Yeah,
See,
Lonzo's more of a leader.
Yeah.
You saw that with 100%.
Yeah.
Lonzo is more of a leader, but I don't have a question of either of these guys.
I'm not saying
not
he can't
being the
be.
leader of my
I'm just
team,
saying,
yeah.
like right now, Lonzo has the body size on his side by a
Yeah.
mile.
Yeah.
He has
They're similar.
rebounding,
They're similarly athletically.
similar athletically, but Lonzo's also incredibly taller and longer than
Yeah.
he is. He can defend at a very high level in the NBA. I mean, he's a very, very
you know
good
what?
player, but that shot is just so busted.
Yeah, it's a scoring that gives Trae
It
the
is
edge.
because I think passing wise, I'm giving it a draw.
Yeah, let's get back
Let's
to
book
the
that for
Cavs,
later.
but
That's a
I think that's a
discussion later.
good discussion. But here's the big question for the Cavs. We all have him going Trae Young. We think he fits with the players that are currently
Beautifully.
on the roster.
Yep.
It's not, and he's also the best player on most people's boards. It's going to be a clear fit. LeBron loves him. Boom, fits in. However, are they keeping the pick? Yes or no? If they have the 8th overall pick, because this is where the lottery is.
Yeah.
We know where they're picking, according to us, according to this fucking thing, according to
Yeah.
this goddamn thing. This
Rattle
is
that
where they're
shit around
picking.
some more.
I'll rattle it around. According to this thing, this is where the Cavs are picking. Do they trade the pick?
I'm going to say no. However, the only two players I can see them trading the pick for,
Kawhi Leonard.
and I'll tell you why neither will probably happen. Number one will be Kawhi Leonard. I don't think that happens because, yeah, the pick is nice, but I don't think I don't think the Spurs are going to say, yeah, we'll take on your trash so that you can have Kyrie.
So they don't have enough
Or not Kyrie,
after that.
Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, they don't have enough after that.
So the other one is Paul George. Now, the only thing is, are the Thunder going to be happy with just the 8 and trash? That is more likely, but I still think neither of those options
George
happen.
is a free agent.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm talking sign and trade because he can get more money if he signs and trades.
Well, and also one thing, yes.
Yeah.
But it's not like a super. You don't think
it's
you
not
get the super max.
It's not supermax, but he does get more money if he signs and then trades.
You're right, but also I think that kind of works too with the Thunder too, because the guys that even though they're trash, as you label them, they need guys to play around Russ, and
They're
they
trash
could-
for the Spurs, is what I'm saying.
Yes, because the Spurs need number one
Yeah.
options, or they need guys that can step in. Maybe not number one options.
I don't
but
know.
I think they
Yeah.
need they
The
They
Thunder
need guys
have
that fit
Russ.
around
the guys that are on
Marcus
the Cavs
Aldridge.
don't fit for the Spurs in my mind, like J.R.
Okay.
Smith.
You can't
Kyle
see
Korver's
J.R.
too old.
Smith reporting to pop,
but I could
falling in
totally,
line?
I could totally see Russell Westbrook passing it to
J.R.
J.R.
Smith.
Smith.
Oh, I could totally-
and
Or
you
Kyle
know,
Korver.
nailing threes. Yeah, so I see that possibly being a possibility. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens. Do they trade the pick, Dave?
No. I think they're gonna hold on to this pick. I think this is gonna be a weird case where they'll hold the pick until we find out what LeBron does, because
This
there's
happens
no point.
before the free agency. Yeah.
I don't think they pull the trigger. I think it's sort of similar to what they did with Wiggins, right? They took Wiggins, and then when they're like, all right,
Yep.
we're definitely getting Kevin Love now.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did.
So, yeah.
I think I agree with you that they will keep the pick, then they will think about trading it. But does Trae Young, just Trae Young alone, make LeBron stay? Ricky.
No. No.
So
no matter who they bring in doesn't get LeBron to stay.
it doesn't move the needle at all.
Nope, not whatsoever.
Really.
Exactly. Yeah, it's what I just said. Like for
I'm just shocked that it doesn't move it at all.
LeBron's gonna have so many other reasons that's gonna be like at the bottom.
So
of
what's the
totem
number one
pole.
reason?
The number one reason is he happy with the current situation, and not one player is gonna change.
Trae Young doesn't improve the situation.
It
does.
minorly,
See,
but he
that's
doesn't
what I'm saying.
change the
Yeah.
situation. Like that's the thing where it's like, does one player really push this team over the top year one? I think it's going to be how he's feeling. He's going to take time. He'll go to banana boat
Yeah.
style and go on vacation and think about
What
it.
part of the situation do you think he's upset with then? LeBron.
I would first off say the main part is just I feel like it's that rift between him and the organization still. I feel like it's
Is there
like
a
you're
big
not
rift?
doing enough for me. Yeah, they did everything at the trade deadline, but it's like, come on. You still didn't get me enough. I still had to carry this team in the playoffs. Without me, you would have been screwed.
I mean,
Well, he
Caleb
never-
has helped a lot. I mean, he stepped up a bit. Tristan
Yeah.
Thompson stepped up a bit. Dave, what do you think? Do you think it moves the needle a bit? Or
I think it moves the needle.
Do you
I
think Trae Young makes him stay alone?
No, I don't think Trae Young is the guy who's going to be like, oh, come on, LeBron wanted Baz coming out of college when he was on Miami. He's like, oh yeah, get that guy, he'll help us, and then it was like deuces.
Yeah.
I don't believe that Trae Young.
Deuces.
I've never seen that from Dave.
Take
That's
him
great.
out. Take him out town to South Beach.
He left South Beach, man.
Oh, that's right.
He left.
I'm talking. I was thinking
The other way, yeah.
before.
No, I think Trae Young, good. Coming in, yes, it moves the needle. 100% moves the needle. Is it enough on its own? No. I think a lot needs to be done during this offseason to see what kind of wiggle room they have with contracts, because it looks like right now, as we're doing this, Cleveland's going to at least the conference finals. I believe they will likely end up in the championship. Going
You
up
don't
against
think a
whoever from-
Kyrie-less Boston
They
team?
are pulling
if-
some ridiculous shit. Like, I don't want to say it, they're going to beat them.
76ers still have a chance. They're still in it.
Real
Yeah.
quick. If Brad
Stevens
the number one coach.
outcoaches, if Brad Stevens outcoaches LeBron James, I don't even like. Then LeBron might just join. He'll be like,
He'll join Boston.
he'll be like, so Brad, you got any openings over there?
Hey, Kyrie, I'm back.
Real quick, we talk about LeBron not getting help. Caleb 2 for
I'm
3
watching.
from 3.
Yeah.
Kyle Korver 4 for 5 from 3, and JR's perfect from 3.
Yeah, it's disgusting right now. They can't miss.
I think that it moves the needle, and I think it does at least put Cleveland in the front runner.
It keeps Cleveland
because
honest.
because I think the thing is that it gives them one of the most attractive pieces in this draft because of his star potential in Trae Young, and also it's a fit for the Cavs. So it's not going to only help the Cavs if Trae Young stays, but it's also going to help them get more support for him. So that's why I think it does move
LeBron
the
would
needle.
be happy with the pick, but it's not like, oh man, we drafted Trae Young. Guess
No,
I'm staying,
of course.
guys.
I'm not saying that, but I think it puts Cleveland in the front
Sorry,
running.
Enos.
I think it
definitely
puts
does.
Cleveland in the front running if they get Trae Young. Now, if Trae Young goes off the board and they get a guy like McHale, again, not saying that McHale isn't great, and not saying that he couldn't, he could fit on this team.
Yeah.
He definitely could. But again, I think that doesn't move the needle as much. Trae Young would move that needle. So it's going to be interesting to see. And again, that's where the Kings come into play. That's where the phone calls, the trades get made. They don't need Trae Young. Hey, who needs Trae Young? Bang, 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 bang.
Yep.
But that's going to be something that's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Finally, let's move now to New York, the Mecca, the Big Apple. At number 9 overall, the New York Knicks, after selecting Frank Nikitalina from France last year, will select who, Ricky Widmer?
Kevin Knox. And the reason why is kind of the same thing that you were going with is the Knicks, to me, are not going to compete next year. They're going to be not really bad, but they're going to be like top 10 bad going to the beginning of the season. Then Kristaps will come back January. I almost said July. January, February from his knee injury. Then we'll see how they finish the season. Go with a guy, like you said, more of a project you can develop. And then next year when you're in this situation again, you just get another player.
Dave Oster, who are the Knicks
some
taking
bad
at number 9 overall.
contracts.
I think the Knicks are going to take Kevin Knox out of Kentucky.
There it goes.
I think I hate to play. We agree with Ricky here, but I think I like the situation for him. He gets to come into this team, and honestly, is probably going to get heavy minutes early on, and potentially be one of their. Now, I'm not a better player, but he'll get his opportunity of shots because Tim Hardaway Jr. is clearly their number one scorer right now with KP out. But between Trey Burke showing us something this past season and watching Frank develop as a guard, I think his offseason will kind of dictate the involvement of Kevin Knox, like how much of a role he'll play in the offense. But I still believe Kevin Knox will get a heavy dose. I think he's going to probably average like 9 shots a game pretty early on. So I think that you go with a guy who, like I said earlier, can really be a multi-talented wing in this league. I think he's someone who has a ton of potential and isn't just going to be pigeonholed into being a role player. And I think it's just, how much can he show and how will coaching help develop him on this team? Because it's very young. Like Ricky said, it's unlikely that they're going to be a non-lottery team. So you're probably going to be back up here surrounding them with more and more talent between KP, Frank, himself. And I think that's a really good core moving forward with.
I don't know who the hell to pick here. I'm going to be honest. I put a name down.
Yeah, you did. You did, actually.
But there's 4 options for them in my mind.
Okay.
Mikal Bridges right now again is the best player on the board, and he's falling in my mock draft right now.
Yep.
So he's still available.
Is there a reason why he's falling?
No, I think I've talked about it enough.
Okay.
I think there's more potential in Kevin Knox, Mo Bamba, and Trae Young's a better fit for the Cavs. And then also Michael Porter Jr. too. And I don't think Mikhail's going to go 5 because they don't really need a 2 there for the Grizzlies. And I think that'd be the top point he would go would be 5. And then the furthest he'd be falling is here at 9 because I have them going Mikal Bridges. But the 4 guys they have him go that could go here: Mikal Bridges, Wendell Carter Jr., Colin Sexton, and Miles Bridges.
Yeah.
Now, the 2 that probably are really don't fit right now, a need but might work on this team. Wendell Carter, again, he's going to bring offense and defense, very well-rounded player, showed a lot of potential at Duke, was a guy that really, was the glue on this team, weirdly enough, as a freshman.
Absolutely.
Really helped this team become who they were, and consistently picked up the slack from Marvin Bagley, consistently helped when Marvin Bagley was on the floor. Wendell Carter is a glue guy, and I really like his fit in New York. Colin Sexton is the other guy where, yes, they just drafted Frank, but we've consistently talked about Frank possibly being a 2. And having the athletic ability of Colin Sexton on this team, running pick and rolls with Kristaps Porzingis could be absolutely deadly, and that's why I bring that up as Colin Sexton being a thing. But I don't think they're going to go with Colin Sexton just because they just drafted Frank, and I don't think they're going to go with Wendell Carter because I still think they have a fit on this team in Enes.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't think they're going to go away with Enes Kanter, so I don't think they're going to have a need for Wendell Carter Jr. So that opens up either Mikal or Miles Bridges going to the Knicks here. I think Mikal, again, is a safer pick. I think that he, again, similar backgrounds Miles and Mikal do have, both on powerhouses in the NCAA. Both guys play the 3. Mikal, more of a 3-and-D guy, prototypical for the NBA. Miles, a guy that, again, is really well-rounded, is a good scorer, decent shooter, good leader, a guy that has a number 1 mentality.
Yeah.
But he might be held back by his body, by his athleticism. So that's why I have Mikal Bridges going there. Safer pick, and I think he's a better fit on this New York Knicks team because, again, they already have a number 1 right now in KP when healthy. So Mikal Bridges would be that too. And I also, again, don't know where Miles is. Miles has the mentality of a number 1, but I don't think he will ever be a number 1 in
He's a guy
in
you
the
really
NBA.
loved last year, and then this year he didn't kind of grow enough to fit that.
And especially on such a great Michigan State team, maybe that was a problem. He was on a great Michigan State team and didn't have the chance to be a guy that was given the ball a ton and have a high usage and be a guy that was relied on a massive amount. But even then, Jaren Jackson only played 22 minutes a game. He didn't really, he needed to be a number 1 scoring option for them. And again, I didn't see enough out of his jumper that made him, say that's the guy. I didn't see enough athletically to say that's the guy. Where Mikal brings that athleticism, he brings that length, he brings that size, and he brings that prototypical player that you want in the NBA, that 3-and-D, long, lengthy, quick guy to plug and play. So again, I don't think this makes them a playoff team. I think Enes, KP, Mikal Bridges, and Frank, though, gives you a really nice starting 4 on this team. And also, if you want to play Tim Hardaway at the 2, he can play at the 2 offensively, and Mikal can just pick up either the 2 or 3 defensively, whoever's the better scorer, because Tim Hardaway is not a great defender.
Yeah. No hiding that.
So there we go.
The other question I've got
that's why
for
I got
you
Mikal going.
Is, I can't remember if this is our comments or Reddit. I want to say it was our comments. Someone
probably
brought up
geniuses.
Yeah, I know, right? No, our commenters, I should say.
Yeah, we're geniuses here on the MVP.
So someone made the
MVP.
comparison on the MVP. Someone made the comparison of Mikal Bridges and someone last year who went much later in Josh Hart to the Lakers.
I don't see that.
And coming up in college, similar shooting percentages.
Yeah, but Josh was a 1. Josh was the one that played the 2 in the
right,
NBA.
and he guarded anything. I mean, he was good defensively. He was good offensively.
Yeah.
As far as being a prototypical 3-and-D player, he does fit the mold. Obviously, the question there is just, I guess, do you see anything in that comment where, one guy who fell so far, and this year we're valuing 3-and-D so highly now?
Well, a couple things. One, Josh Hart was a senior.
I got it. I got the comment.
Okay. Okay. We'll go to it right after. One, Josh Hart was a senior. So good job. Good job, Ricky. But Josh Hart was a senior. So Mikal Jr. Obviously different. Mikal much bigger. I think Josh Hart's 6'3" or 6, maybe 6'5". Josh Hart might be 6'5", but he still has 2 inches on Josh Hart. And also Josh again didn't show the defensive versatility that Mikal brings. He's a good defender for, I think, guards, but Mikal has shown that he could probably do 1 to 3 fairly easily. So that's why I think Mikal has that higher upside, at least the higher projection here, because, again, played 3 years compared to 4, has more defensive versatility. I think he's still a better shooter than Josh Hart was. And finally, again, the similarity does make sense because they both come from Jay Wright's system.
Josh Hart was 6'5" with a 7-foot wingspan.
And I think Mikal 6'7" with a 7'2". So 2 inches
roughly,
on both.
Yeah.
And again, there is a similarity there because they do come from Jay Wright's system. What's the comment, though?
Well, and it was Matt who made the comment. It was
Matt who?
Matt 24.
Oh, what's up, Matt 24?
It was on our Knicks video.
Okay.
No, we're talking about the Knicks. It's on the Knicks video. He said, I don't understand the fascination with Mikal Bridges. Josh Hart was picked 30th. Hart turned 22 March last year. Oh, Bridges is 22 in August.
That's true.
Hart career at Nova, 3.6 3-point a game, 39%. Bridges' career was 3.7 with 40%. Hart per was 18, 22, 23, 28. Bridges per 18, 21, 26. DBPM, Hart 2.7, 4.1, 3.8, 4.0. Bridges 6.3, 6.9, 4.4. I guess that's it. Question is Bridges that much better defensively than Hart? Did Hart defend guards? Did Bridges guard wings?
Bridges does guard wings. So that's the thing, is he projects to better defensive versatility than Josh Hart. Good comment, by the way, Matt.
Really well
very
done.
well versed.
And I just want to add this. Nick Dreezy put another point. He said, or another point could be is where they are/were relative to those in their respective drafts. Is Mikal that much better than the others in this draft, or was Hart that much worse in his?
I think it's interesting because that was a much weaker draft last year. Josh Hart, where Josh Hart was.
Which is funny because Matt said he thought that last year's draft was deeper. He said he thought the same thing. Last year's draft was deeper.
It depends.
Deeper,
are you talking top end quality versus?
Well, that's why I think Mikal falls to 9 because again, he's probably the safest pick, and that's one thing where Josh Hart. Again, there was a lot of potential in last year's draft. From I think like 1 to 20, there was a ton of potential there. But it wasn't the star potential where now you have star potential. I mean, we just talked about Trae Young, who I said had superstar potential going at 8. And you didn't have that last year where I can't remember the 8th pick right now. Who was after the Bulls? God damn it! It was Frank. Frank was a complete project, and we project him as to be a really good defender. The camera's gonna die, maybe. No, it's not. We got a couple minutes. So I can finish this thought. Frank went 8. And again, Frank had a lot of defensive versatility, but we knew he was going to take a couple of years. Where a guy like Mo Bamba, again, he might take some time, but there's a lot there to go with, and we see his top end being a guy like Joel Embiid, who's already a star. Has the mentality too, when you bring up the thing as well.
Was Frank also a Phil Jackson pick, or was he the first pick after
He was a Phil Jackson pick.
Okay,
but I don't think that. I think he was already mocked there. I mean, Dennis Smith, though, was still on the board.
You had the explosiveness of that. So.
It's a very interesting question, and I'm glad you brought that up.
Phil,
great
KP,
comments from them.
Frank, both of them Euro players.
Great comment brought up there. But I think it's just something where...
Do you think it's the versatility, being able to guard wings?
It's the versatility. I will give Josh Hart credit. He was more of a number one go-to guy for Villanova and showed like that go get him mentality. I just think it's also it's one thing where Mikal is a better shooter. I know you might say again the percentages are there. Josh Hart in his senior year shot 40% from 3. Mikal shot 43%. But we always bring up the free throw percentage, and Josh Hart's best year in college shooting at the line was 75%. Mikal at times hit 91%, and last year hit 85%. Mikal is a better shooter, so that's why it's also a 3-and-D guy, where Josh Hart's a combo guard at 1 and 2. You're not really looking for 3-and-D guys, and Mikal has the ability to play the wing, and 3-and-D wings absolutely murder. So it's also the price of the position, the price of the prototypical player that he is, and also the defensive versatility, and that plays into the prototypical player. So again, that's a
good answer and a great question.
Yeah, great comment.
But the question I was kind of thinking of with this is, and this kind of goes into the article I wrote last week, is does the pick get traded for Kawhi? Do they work out a deal where they trade this pick and players, maybe this pick, future picks, and current players for Kawhi Leonard to get him in a major market?
Correct me
if they can't get LeBron, or if that ship is sailed.
I think you should pull up the deal.
The one that I have, I've got it.
Yeah. So I think if I remember correctly, you had Tim Hardaway Jr., the 9th pick.
Yep.
And then
Trey Burke.
Burke.
Now, I did not include future picks.
Yeah.
Only because it's like everyone's going to offer
and that's
a future
straight
pick.
up for Kawhi.
Yeah, that is straight up for Kawhi. No one
I
else.
just don't see Tim Hardaway Jr. with his contract. And I know you did that. You did that because of Kawhi's contract. It has to work out.
And the only other thing I said was realistically, the Knicks will be like, "Hey, take Courtney Lee," and the Spurs might say, "No, we don't want that trash."
I think
give us Tim
I
Hardaway.
think Courtney Lee's attractive to them.
I think Courtney Lee fits better than him. And I'm real quick. Courtney Lee doesn't get fucking respect. That guy
from me.
fucking
He had a
deserves
great
respect.
year. Wasn't last year's best year?
Yes, he had a good year last year, has been good before. I have a guy in my fantasy baseball group chat that bashes on Courtney Lee. It's disrespectful. Courtney Lee is a really good 3-and-D player, and it's not his fault that there was a ton of money floating around. He got $12 million. And compared to his
God, I got him going.
Compared to it's Courtney.
Compared to who?
This is a star here. Compared to his what's the word? His counterparts, thank you. His counterparts, his contemporaries, that's the word. His contemporaries, like in the shooting guard position, he has a really reasonable contract. There's guys above him that have terrible contracts and are just not as good as Courtney Lee. Tim Hardaway Jr. I think even Alan Crabb's there, even though Alan Crabb's a really
Alan Crabb's on a horrible contract. Everybody knows that.
That's what I'm saying, though. Yeah. Like, there are guys with much worse contracts that are worse players than Courtney Lee. Courtney Lee would be a great fit with the Spurs, a good 3-and-D player. Fills the 2 spot. Will play next along DeJounte Murray. I think that's a good fit. And I'm just sick of people fucking trashing Courtney Lee.
I think Tim Hardaway Jr. would be a good volume addition to that.
I don't see Trey Burke fitting on the Spurs, too.
It's like I said, too. Another thing that plays into it is with Courtney Lee, he's chasing 30 years old right now?
31
He's
years old.
32, according to Spot
That guy doesn't age,
whereas Tim Hardaway Jr. is 26.
Oh, I totally agree.
So I'm going like I picked the younger. Like the way I saw it was the Knicks were like, "Here, take our older player," and the Spurs were like, "No, we want that younger player."
It's not the deal.
Yeah,
it's that you call them trash.
Yeah, you know me. I just throw it out there sometimes.
He's got 2 years left. He's got 2 years left. When the season starts, he'll be around 33 years old. He'll be 35 on the contract.
I just don't think we can throw it completely out the window. Although I don't think it'll happen.
And I don't think you should be calling Courtney Lee trash. I don't. Yep. If we talked about the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have a spot higher, giving the Spurs their garbage, I don't think it works out for the Knicks. So it's really the same reason they have a worse pick, and to me, probably less desirable players outside of Courtney Lee.
Plus, there's a team we're going to talk about in like 2-3 picks that have 2 back-to-back.
Outside of Courtney Lee, I mean, that's probably the most desirable player probably for both the Cavs and Knicks, but also it's Courtney Lee for Kawhi Leonard, so it's not going to happen. So I think they're making the pick here in the Knicks. But it really depends on who's available. And again, I think they just go with Mikal Bridges because he's safe and he's also going to be able to stick around in the league for, again, like 10 to 12 years, 13 years. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. You guys have anything else about the Knicks, or you guys want to move on?
That's a wrap.
All right, cool. I forget even how long we talked about the Knicks just because this has been such a long podcast. Let's just update people. Again, support us on Patreon, patreon.com/MostOL Podcast. Check out MostOL Podcast if you want to buy a shirt. Also, check out Ricky's article that I just referenced. Talked about Kawhi Leonard and the 5 possible trades that the Spurs could explore. Also, rate us 5 stars on iTunes if you haven't already. This is probably closing in on a 2-hour-long podcast. You guys wanted it. You demanded it. You're going to get one next week, too, when the lottery's actually set. Yeah. But anyways... Let's jump in. That one's gonna be a little more, a little quicker.
We won't have the half hour
to roll balls.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also we'll focus in on picks too.
Yeah.
But anyways, this is the most in depth we've gone on any of these prospects and picks. Anyways, 10th we're gonna go to Ricky. 76ers from the Lakers. Who did they pick?
For me, I've been back and forth on the 76ers pretty much since our 2.0. Do they go at a 3? Do they go at a 4? To me, it comes down to then, do you take Miles Bridges? Do you take Wendell Carter Jr.? I'm going to take the BPA here. I'm going to go at Wendell Carter, the 4 for the 76ers, who could also slide over to the 5 if you need him to be.
I think he's more of a 5 on that team. Possibly.
On that team?
Yeah.
Wait, if Joel's out there, then no. But if Joel's not out there, then yes. That's why I would like that. I like that pick
versatility
for the 76ers.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Dave, who do you got him going with?
I am so conflicted here.
Yes. What are you thinking?
Okay, I'm between 2 guys. I mocked Zaire Smith here last time around.
You did.
I like him because he has a ton of potential.
Yes,
and the Sixers are probably not going to pick this high again for quite some time. So I'm thinking highest potential on the board would be either he or, and I know this is going to sound stupid, but I think someone maybe even, a Miles Bridges or Colin Sexton. So the weird situation is the Sixers are looking at this pick and going, do we take the guy with the highest potential left on the board regardless of fit? Or do we go for the fit because we're competing for deep playoff runs now? And I think they are. I think they twist it and they go for someone like Wendell Carter because you're seeing the impact of Joe off and Joe on. And I'm hoping, and this again is another, you have to be optimistic that Markelle Fultz next year will be a full-time point guard, will have a 3-point shot. If you have questions about either one of those, I'm not uncomfortable taking Colin Sexton here. But I'm weirdly okay with that because I think that JJ is going to sign back to that's another if. Yeah. If you get JJ back on a good deal.
We gave you money last year. How about you help us out?
He signed for 2 years.
No, it was a 1-year deal.
Was it? Okay.
It was a 1-year deal. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Okay.
23
just making sure.
1 year.
Okay.
So that's the thing. If because how well he's doing this year, career year, like I don't know, maybe somebody makes him an offer that he can't refuse.
Yeah.
Or maybe he just loves the process so damn much he stays. You've got a lot of ifs over there. That's the concern because if you think you're going to lose JJ, can Markelle Fultz play the 2? If he has a 3-point shot, can he split ball handling time with them? Like, you've got so many questions, and that's the problem. I think I'm going Wendell Carter here. I'm locking in because he's the guy when your second best player and Joel Embiid is off the court, you need someone there.
Well, and that's the thing. That's the one thing.
Stop. Pump the brakes.
He heard it. Yeah.
You think Ben Simmons is better player than Joel Embiid?
I think Ben Simmons is a player you have to build around.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Joel Embiid, when
Magic
healthy,
Johnson.
is amazing. But at the same time, his impact when he's off the floor is so much larger than Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is a primary ball handler. TJ McConnell, we're watching him be subbed out for TJ freaking McConnell right now. I love TJ. I love TJ.
So does Jake.
Between TJ McConnell and Markelle Fultz as your backup ball handlers, I'm not concerned about that position as much. But when JoJo is off the court, that team rolling with Amir Johnson at center, kill me. Well, just kill me now.
Again, I'm going to let you talk.
Okay.
I just wanted to add something quick. Just getting this victory, though, for having Dave say that Joel Embiid's not the best player on his team.
He's the best playing player on his team right now.
I'm just saying.
But I think that Ben Simmons is freaking Magic Johnson.
The thing that I was going to add to that is there's a difference that we've seen already with JoJo not on the court against a team like the Heat. Yeah. I almost said the Magic, compared to a well-coached, better team in the Boston Celtics.
I mean,
well, the disrespect to Eric Spoelstra.
Sorry, Spell, but
he didn't have anybody to play there.
Sorry,
I mean, he had Hassan.
He had Hassan Whiteside.
Hassan Whiteside didn't play. Al Horford's a god. He's been an all-star for. He's super underrated. Al Horford is underrated. I realize this. Are you saying Al Horford's not underrated?
The takes we're taking at this table right now.
Al Horford's like a 5-time all-star.
Oh no!
Hey Hassan, sit on that bench.
Horford's good, and Hassan, like we talked about this before the series with the Heat. It was Hassan can only get it up for JoJo, and he couldn't even do it this series. It was incredibly disappointing.
Well, it's because JoJo was not on the court until late.
He played after game. All right, whatever.
2, I think.
Yeah, he played game 2 on, I think, or it was either 2 on or 3 on. Either
way,
it
was game 3 because he made his debut in Miami.
Yeah.
So point being, I think they go with a safe pick. I think they go Wendell because I think and you mentioned the guy I compare him to, like his top end could be Al Horford-esque.
Yeah.
I think he is, like you said, a glue guy. He's a guy who has the ability to cover up for others defensively. He has good presence around the rim. He's got good post moves. The only problem with him is his limitations as far as how far he can stretch the court. He's got good hands for a big man, so he can pass out of the low post, but him stretching out is not going to happen easily for him. He needs growth in that area.
You guys didn't talk me into this pick, but I'm also going Wendell Carter Jr. because again we talked about Rashawn.
We didn't talk you into it, but you're still going to make it. Or
no, you guys didn't talk me into me. That was always going to be my pick.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
I was confused a bit.
Yeah, you guys didn't talk me into it. That was always my pick because we talked consistently about they need a backup 5. He wasn't on my board last time. That's why he wasn't mocked to the Sixers at 10 last time. I had them going with Miles Bridges to fill that 3 spot. If Rocco's off. But again, I think with Rashawn Holmes not being great, Amir Johnson being a waste of money, having Dario and Ben at the 4, at least defensively. I know Ben's more of a 1.
Yep.
It's just something where I think, again, like you mentioned it, when Joe's off the floor, you need someone to go in there, and he's also that glue guy. And even if Dario's off the floor, he can be that glue guy. Yeah. So I think that Wendell Carter is a good pick for them. And I think he's honestly the best pick for them, both potential and fit wise.
Yeah.
Because I know that Zaire Smith has a ton of potential, great metrics, great athlete, but I think Wendell Carter is a better player. And I think he fits what the 76ers need. They don't need a star. They need a bench player. They need a glue guy. They need a leader. Wendell Carter, smart kid, good leader, was the glue guy in Duke.
Good pedigree. I think he would even come in and play for them at the 4 next to Joe. I think that you could roll with that lineup happily. That's the disgusting thing about that. It's just dirty.
I do like how this almost turned into a topic, though, about how underrated Al Horford is or how overrated he was. Not about the 76ers pick, but how it's going to be interesting when
we've got some of these break-off discussions I would like to dig into.
When we get a starting center positional ranking, it's going to be interesting.
Our summer's going to be our offseason.
Also, starting coaches is going to to be fun, too, because Brad Stevens, if he wins this series,
Brad Stevens is 3 wins away from curing cancer.
Brad Stevens is. I'll take it even further. Brad Stevens is 3 wins away from jumping Pop and Kerr in our coaching rankings. That's bigger than curing cancer. Anyways, any final thoughts on the 76ers taking Wendell Carter? I think it's a good fit.
Not really. I think it's a good fit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a pick to where it's like, oh man, this is really in depth. It's just trust the process.
Do they trade the pick?
Maybe they could possibly could be in the Kawhi Leonard sweepstakes, although I don't think it happens.
That would be incredible.
They're the fourth,
but they've got the ammo.
Major market. Yeah,
they've got a ton of ammo. I'm glad you brought that up. That's the ammo. Yes, picks are ammo.
Picks and some players.
It's the process.
Yeah,
they have a ton of it.
The process.
Anyways, we'll move on now to the 76ers to the Charlotte Hornets. Hornets picking number 11. We went to Ricky, I think, back-to-back times, so we're going to go to David Oster. David, the number 11th overall pick, the Charlotte Hornets, after selecting the moist one in Malik Monk last year.
And finally giving him a chance to play. Jesus.
Charlotte Hornets go with?
They're going with Kemba's replacement in Colin Sexton. I hate to say it, but I'm gonna say it, and we've been saying it for a while, is
thinking the same thing.
The time is up. The time is up for Kemba right now, and you go with a player who has similar physicals to Kemba Walker, who can do similar things. He doesn't have the magic that Kemba brought, but at
Kemba's
the same
a much
time,
better ball handler, though, too. Kemba's more of a scorer.
I mean,
I think
Kemba's averaged 19 point something and at Bama. So.
Yeah, but averaging 19 in college is different than...
I know. I'm just saying, coming out of college, when you look at the body of work...
You're attacking a soft spot in Kemba Walker to me.
I understand.
So I'm just saying it.
National champion.
I don't think he's better than Kemba right now.
I know you're not saying that.
I'm saying that he's in the same mold. Like I said, this is a guy who could
Ricky thought Lonzo was better than Kemba Walker last year.
He was one ahead of Kemba Walker.
I know he was. That's why I brought it up.
I don't have those delusional problems. No, I think I always talk about him being in the mold of Eric Bledsoe. He's a guy who has the body to play all 82 games. He's physical. He is tough. It's funny to say all 82 games, and Bledsoe's been hurt 8 times in his career. I understand the irony, people, but he's got the body to play in the NBA. I think he has the ability to take over games. He can go, intensity is there. The question for me comes down to, how will that transition happen with Kemba and him? Does this mean Kemba's getting traded during the offseason? Does this mean he's getting traded at the deadline, or are they going to let him right off the books and get nothing for him? For me, it's that transition. Like the Hornets, you've had your time. You couldn't pull it together with talent. Now you need to reload. You have Malik Monk and then Colin Sexton as your backcourt of the future, which you should be fucking thrilled about.
Now, one thing, Ricky, I just want to jump in. Here's one, going off the Kemba Walker, Colin Sexton thing.
Yeah.
Kemba was so smooth. I think that's what I want to say. Kemba was so undeniably smooth.
Yeah.
Don't forget national champion in college, too.
I don't forget it. That's why Kemba Walker has the soft spot in my heart. Again,
that's where his love of the Huskies came from.
Exactly. My three pinnacle college teams, Notre Dame, Washington, and UConn.
2 of them are Huskies.
Two Huskies and one he grew up watching.
Well, I love dogs.
Yeah.
I love Huskies,
and that
man.
too.
But no, again, Kemba Walker, again, was so smooth. Colin Sexton, again, has that fuck you mentality of I'm going to score on you no matter what, like Kemba does. But also Colin Sexton has so much power and visceral ability. And again, I love him translating to the NBA. I see, I know maybe this is sacrilege, but I see some Russell Westbrook in this kid.
I didn't want to say it because I know people are saying that. I'm like, I see more.
Maybe Dennis Smith Jr. too, but less athletic.
Well, that's the thing. I totally agree. He's somewhere in between because Russ has that intensity level that you can't match. He has it was like Michael Jordan, Kobe, And then I want to say like Russ levels of hatred and spite, and I will win this to spite you. Just absolutely. Like, I agree with you on that.
I think Colin Sexton's more tame than Russ.
100%. He is so much more controlled. But like you said, somewhere between Russ, I think we're like the triangle or the Venn diagram is like Russ is on one side, Eric Bledsoe's over here, and Dennis Smith Jr. is over here. He's somewhere in between. He's got a little bit of each.
I think, but I would say even Dennis Smith is more like Russ too. Like if we're comparing like Dennis Smith and Colin Sexton, I think Dennis Smith is a little bit more like Russ than anything.
That's fine. I'm just saying like he's got the body of Bledsoe right now. He's got the intensity of Russ, and he has the potential of someone like Dennis Smith Jr. where he can just take over games.
Well, Ricky, you kind of said it. You're thinking the same way. You're going Colin Sexton. I'm going Colin Sexton too. So let's just jump in on this conversation.
The thing it is with, and I apologize for Hornets fans that I don't have anything like really in depth here, but it's basic. I'm thinking either Miles Bridges because Michael Kid Gilchrist is my only 3.
MKG.
And he's got a player up in 2019. I don't know if he's going to take it. He probably will.
Please, God,
so
don't.
He'll have that, and we'll probably have until 2020. Or the guy who's probably up next at the end of next year, which would be Kemba Walker. And I will go with the guy to replace Kemba Walker and kick that kind of 3 can down the road. And I'll get that either in free agency or next year's draft.
Well, I think, the thing is with the 3, I think you mentioned it. I'm going to be honest, I'm spaced out a little bit.
You got more control over MKG.
Well, you got more, but also it depends on if they move the Nick Batum contract. So, like, if Nick Batum's not moved, he's playing 3.
Right.
So that's going to be
stuck with that.
Huge there.
If they,
so then I would more so go with a point guard.
But the whole idea is that they're going to move Kemba with a bad contract, a la Nick Batum, a la Marvin Williams.
You still need a point guard to take over after him.
No, I know. That's why I have him going Colin Sexton. I'm not disagreeing with you.
I know.
He's trying to lead to something here, Ricky. You gotta let the man speak.
Well, I'm just saying this is the plan for them. They need to draft a point guard because they're getting rid of Kemba Walker. And again, like Dave said, Malik Monk and Colin Sexton is a deadly backcourt. And you're just bringing up the 3 though. You know, MKG's there. I'm just saying if they don't move Batum's also there at the 3. And that's the one thing is Kemba's not being moved because he's a bad player. Kemba's being moved because he's the only thing of value right now that isn't Malik Monk, future picks, and the current 11th pick. Yeah. That's the only thing that they have right now.
They're trying to dig
Kemba
this
Walker.
franchise out of horrible decisions.
Exactly. So they're trying to get away from that Marvin Williams decision. They're trying to get away from that Steve Clifford era. They're trying to get away from that Stephen Cho era. I forget the former GM that they fired.
I don't know.
They're trying to get away from that era. They bring in Kupchak. They're trying to refresh this team. I think even though Kemba Walker is a top 10 point guard in this league, I love him. You're going to need to take some of that value in Kemba Walker, pair a terrible contract, and move them somewhere else. Where they're going to move them, when they're going to move them, that I'm not sure of. But I think they're going to go with Colin Sexton because he fits that mold. He's, again, in my mind, probably the best point guard in this draft. And he's going behind Trae Young just because of that cap that people believe Trae Young has. But he has the body, he has the physicals, he has the mentality. Again, 3-on-5 against Minnesota, almost winning that game. The shots that he hit in the SEC tournament. I love Colin Sexton. I think he's a great fit there, and I think we all agree because we all have him going there. It's just really, when is Kemba Walker going to get traded? Dave, do you think you got a pulse on that button? When Kemba's going to get traded? If he's going to get traded?
You have the draft. Like, if it doesn't happen during the draft, I think he's there till mid-year. And then you look at that and go, well, it doesn't look like we're making the playoffs this year either. Who wants Kemba Walker? Who can offer me something for Kemba Walker? I mean, if not, you let him walk. Yeah, I mean, you pray for a sun injury, but you let him walk. That's the problem. Like, you're probably going to eat on a bad deal, to be honest.
No, for me, I'm going with the guy to Kemba's going to be gone after this year, and that's why Colin Sexton's the man.
Well, I'm saying, when is he going?
Oh, when is he?
Yeah, that was the whole
end of the year. I think they won't be able to make a deal mid-year. They'll just have him and Sexton the whole way, and then he'll walk free agency.
So they're going to let him walk.
They won't let him walk. I don't think they're going to be able to make a deal.
Oof, that's rough.
Yep.
If you draft his replacement, you're not able to, because then you're just clogging that up. You're taking away time from him. I don't know. They got to take a deal. Whether it's not. I mean,
it's either going to be a deal that the fans don't like, or they're not going to be able to get a deal done.
They might not have a great value, but they need to get a deal done. They can't let Kemba walk for nothing, and they can't have these contracts on their team for nothing. So I'd be shocked if he's not moved. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. They didn't make a move this year. Finally, let's move now to the first of the Clippers pick, and we're going to go to Ricky Widmer first for the 12th pick. I know you're going to bring up Kawhi, but let's talk about picking first. The 12th pick, who do the Clippers go?
I originally had them going Colin Sexton here, but because the Hornets did that, obviously the Clippers can't take it. They're going to take the next point guard on the board. They're going to go at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, point guard out of Kentucky. Just take the next best available point guard because they were going to take it here no matter what.
Well, and let's keep this going just because the Clippers are picking back-to-back. Who would you have them going at 13? Because it doesn't matter the order they take them.
This was a tough one, and the reason I'm going to pick Robert Williams over a Mitchell Robinson. And the main reason is last mock I had them go with Robinson. At that time, I was more convinced that DeAndre Jordan was not going to accept his player op. Right now, I'm on the other side. I feel like DeAndre Jordan is going to take that player op. And although Robert Williams is a 5 who will play behind him, he's also a guy that gives me a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for, a little bit more grit, a little bit more like aggressiveness going after loose balls. Maybe I can pair that with DeAndre Jordan in some situations, or if DeAndre's off the court, it gives me that kind of player to go after loose balls and give me 110.
David, Daniel. Give me the 12th and 13th pick.
I also have them going with Shai because, like Ricky said, the need for point guards there. They've got 2 aging point guards on their under contract right now. You need to start, getting that next guy going. And then behind him, I do have Mitch Robinson there. I think just the upside, the potential, this kid coming out of high school was mocked as one of the best centers coming into this class. And in his year of training, I'm hoping that he has developed, continue to develop physically, develop some basketball skills. The problem is, you're not playing true 5-on-5 against the top level talent like you could have been in college. So I'm going to say that's why he falls here, but he's got the physicals, he's got the potential, and, we'll see what he can roll out as far as being a team player.
Well, I believe that's a kid that's going to be at the Combine as well. So we're going to see what Mitchell Robinson can bring at the Combine.
To see that.
It's going to be interesting because, if he shows enough potential, maybe top 10 pick, maybe
could be
throw out there.
Maybe
if he comes out of the Combine and sucks, he'll be like a top 20 pick. We'll see where Mitchell Robinson falls. But again, that potential is there. That ability to mold a player is there. We saw that with Thon Maker be attractive, and the Bucks took him around this area.
And then they did nothing with him after the first year.
Yeah, I think they picked him around that 10 area, but they still again
might have been like 13 or something.
The mold or something. That's where Thon Maker ended up going. And people love that Thon Maker mixtape. I remember getting yelled at for not having Thon Maker in like my number 1 pick.
Right, number 10 pick
in the mock. Yeah, there we go. I remember some things. I have the Clippers at 12 and 13 going with, shocker, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the guard out of Kentucky. This is something we've mocked for the past, I think, 3 mock drafts. The Clippers going with a point guard. Again, Pat Bev, Milos, really good point guards, but again, 31 years old. I think both of them are. Both had injuries this year. Were not healthy.
Pat Bev is we need to lock someone down defensively. Basically, we want to show Lonzo up first game of the year.
Well, he's gonna be a guy that comes in for defensive situations, and he's also gonna play the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But Pat Bev isn't the future, and Milos, he's very good. He's gonna bring something that's a little funky to this team in his passing abilities. He's gonna open up lanes. But I think that Shai Gilgeous again is a guy that can be a future point guard in a team, and he's going to need time to develop, so playing behind Pat Bev and Milos is going to be great for him. He doesn't need that time like Colin Sexton. I think Colin Sexton just needs NBA experience to become good, where I think Shai needs to at least adjust to the NBA. It took him time in college to adjust to college basketball. I think he needs to fill out a little bit more, be on a team, and play behind a Pat Bev and a Milos. And I think he's going to be able to do that. In LA, he's not going to have a ton of pressure to be the guy right away, but he has that potential to be the guy in the NBA. And then at 13, I have him going with Miles Bridges because, again, they have Danilo at the 3. Toby can go 3 or 4. But I think that at that 3 spot, you need a guy that is going to take over for Danilo. And even though that contract's pretty hefty, I think that Miles Bridges, again, he doesn't need to be the guy on a team. He has a mentality that could be the guy. And Danilo also doesn't have a clean bill of health. Bringing a guy like Miles Bridges could really help that team out. And really make them gel.
$22 million for the next 2 years for Danilo. That's
rough.
That's the problem. Like, they're locked down. Like, their wings. I mean, between Toby and Danilo, you have pretty good wings.
So many wings.
So many wings. It's weird because they've got 2 picks here, and I don't see either one of these guys being. Neither one of them needs to step in year 1 for this team to compete because
they were almost a playoff team this year.
If they're healthy, they're a playoff. I mean, period. If they're healthy, they're a playoff team. Period.
For sure.
They were that good. We watched Lou Williams turn on the Jets this year. And I mean, yes, he fell off late in the year, but to be fair, like the whole team kind of fell off the face of the earth late in the year. The question for me is the whole Austin Rivers, Avery Bradley thing. Like, what do they do with that situation? I mean, do you think Austin will accept the 12.6 for the player option? Do you think he thinks he's worth more money because Daddy's still in charge?
Well, the 12
Jerry
point-
West is in charge.
See, the 12.6 is, since it's a player, I think he takes it because let's look at the money that was out there. A guy like Lou Will, who's more valuable, got 8.
You say
So-
more valuable. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, really.
I mean, Lou Will is probably the best, one of the top 5.
He's a top 6 man, yeah.
6 man. So, I
But
mean, where do you...
Austin
Where do
Rivers
you
is a starting shooting guard.
but how
Who
quality
can
of a
ball
starting
handle,
shooting... How
He's
quality
good.
of a... But, like, where would you put him? Like, if you're ranking him? Like, do you think he could be
Probably
a playoff...
15.
Okay.
Without
And
looking
that's
anywhere,
pretty
I'm guessing.
decently high.
I think he's probably between 15 and 20.
So what do you think his value would be worth? Like, do you think
The
he'll
problem
get
is
more than 12
the
mil?
money available right now this year. I think that's what plays into it. I think he should take the player option this year, and then next year's class. There's a ton of money coming off the books for every team. There's a ton of top talent out there. So even if you're not the first guy off the board, you're going to get paid. I just think that, what do you do with Avery Bradley then?
Well,
Do you let
that's
him walk?
Well, that's the thing is he wasn't great, and
He was not.
You don't
That's
know
his
what
point.
he wasn't great in Detroit, wasn't great in LA, wasn't healthy. So Ricky, I mean, we saw Avery Bradley on Boston be phenomenal. We saw a lot of guys on Boston be phenomenal. The only guy to find success outside of Boston has been Kelly Olynyk so far. Weird to say. But, I mean, do you think that Avery Bradley's a product of Boston, or do you think he just had a bad year and could still be a very good NBA starter? Because
I think it comes down to coaching.
Because with career-wise, I'd say that I would rather have Avery Bradley over Austin Rivers.
I mean, I hate to say this. I would also agree with you. I'd rather have Avery Bradley over Austin Rivers. Rivers takes the player option because really it's like Doc isn't really in charge anymore. It's Jerry West is in charge of this team. And if you don't take that player option, you're either getting a low salary or you're not coming back next year. I would rather have Avery over Rivers. The one thing that I think this kind of almost becomes moot, though, is because if there's any deal for Kawhi that happens in my mind, it is the Spurs getting these 2 picks. I'll go ahead and say it. I'll go on a limb. Spurs are making these 2 picks. He is going to get traded to the Clippers, and that is going to boost them into the playoffs for sure next year.
Are you fucking kidding me right now?
No,
Kawhi
I'm
Leonard
like,
to the Clippers.
The Clippers are not going to make this pick. The Spurs are going to be there. I've said it from the beginning. Like, the Spurs don't have to trade them this offseason. They can wait. However, the thing that's going to come down to, Clippers are going to say, I'll use the trade that I had. Tobias Harris, both these picks, maybe even a future. The Spurs are going to look and go, by the trade deadline, are we going to be able to get this big of a haul? No, they're going to make the deal and take their young players.
All right, hold on. But why is the 12 and 13 more valuable than what we said at the Cavs at that 8 spot?
Because
also you're not trading them inside the Western Conference.
Because it's 2. First off, it's 2 players over 1.
Yeah.
And 2, if it's done before the draft, maybe the Spurs can package those 2 picks to move up then in the lottery.
But
That's
if you're
what
already
Spurs like.
I mean, and we talked about the Kings. At 7 possibly
Wild
wanted
card
to
bitches.
move that. But again, if you're getting offered the 8 and you're still getting offered players like I know Toby's better than
I'd say Toby put up like almost 19
No, and I love
The
Toby. And I think
Spurs-
Toby's
incredible shooting percentages.
and I think Toby's a great fit on the Clippers. That's why I don't think they need to move. I think the
agree.
Clippers
I
with
think
Toby.
the upgrade from Toby to Kawhi is smaller than it would be.
Well, it's
less
Toby
valuable.
and 2 picks.
No, I'm saying like
and Kawhi.
the Clippers grabbing Kawhi over Toby. I think the upgrade level there is very small compared to, and I know that's super disrespectful to Kawhi in some people's
I
minds.
think it's bigger than you might think it is.
I think that's not worth making the move. I think giving up 2 draft picks plus Toby is asking a lot.
That's what I'm saying. Is that Toby? Kawhi's a clear upgrade over Toby.
Absolutely.
No one's arguing that. I don't think Dave's trying to say that. But Toby and the 2 picks is something that I think is way too much.
Yeah.
And because you're getting 3 players there, 3 starters, and Toby's still on a decent contract.
Here's the thing
Yep.
I forgot. In the deal,
They're getting
they've
the
got to
8
swap. They've got to give the 18
So
up,
the
too.
Clippers
Clippers would
get the
get
San
the
Antonio
18.
pick too. I still don't think that's enough because Maybe not enough, but
and for the Clippers side, it all comes down to, what do you think? You are a fringe playoff team. What do you think is going to get you into that playoffs? Are you going to just take your two guys? You know what? If we're not in the playoffs next year, that's fine. Or is it like, hey, man, we were close. Let's get a Kawhi Leonard. He wants to come to a major market.
Period.
And we're going to make a push for the playoffs.
I think that they're, again,
you get Kawhi, maybe someone else wants to them come. Maybe you get a PG-13.
You don't have money because you're locked in with a horrible contract to Danilo Gallinari.
True, but I'm talking about like next free agency, maybe not PG-13.
They're still locked in.
Yeah, Danilo still got 2 years, I think it is.
At 21 and 22
The question
million.
is, do you just sit around or do you make a move for Kawhi to try to
But you're not
compete?
sitting around. That's the thing.
Future building blocks.
We look at you're getting two building blocks of this team. Toby's still 26 years old. Again, I'm not trying to bash Kawhi Leonard. We don't know what his current health is. We don't know where he's at mentally. We don't know what he wants. And if you're trading Toby and 2 picks, the ability to build around him, which he's complaining about right now in San Antonio, is taken away. And I just think that, again, with what Jerry West has done throughout his career, it hasn't been, let's get assets and trade them. It's, let's take those assets, let them sit, and let's grow a team.
And I
think they have the ability to do that in 2 picks and Tobias Harris.
Here's one thing I feel.
It's weird saying that I wouldn't accept Tobias Harris for Kawhi Leonard.
Me personally, this is how I feel.
Yeah.
Either the Clippers make this trade and get Kawhi this offseason, or the Spurs aren't. If they don't trade him this offseason, they're not going to be able to trade Kawhi, because if we get close to the trade deadline, teams are going to go, no, we'll give you this. And the Spurs will be like, no. And they'll be like, well, you know what? We're in the driver's seat because we know we can get him at the end of the season. And if he gets to free agency, he ain't going to the Clippers. He's going to be wearing purple and gold.
But I don't think that, I don't know about the purple and gold thing.
It's going to be a Laker.
I don't know. I first off, I don't think Kawhi's getting traded. I don't think that's happening. I'm flip-flopping so much. I don't think he's going to get traded. I think he's going to be a Spur. He's going to continue to be a Spur. We don't know the situation, so I can't say he's going to get traded. I don't think the Clippers should do that move. And I think they should take the 2 players. They should take Tobias Harris, and they should go into next season, because I still think they're going to be a playoff team. I still think that they're growing, and they're still young with Toby, those 2 players. And again, they're trying to get rid of that Blake, CP3, and DeAndre stench, and the Doc Rivers stench, and I think that it's just going to... They need to just get new players in and start changing the culture, and I think that's what Jerry West is trying to do. And again, Kawhi Leonard's a fantastic player, but we just don't know where he is, and we don't know the situation, where I just don't think that trade's going to happen. It's definitely a possibility, though.
Yeah, no, I could see them moving more guys that they've got stuck under contract to try to get out from them. I could see them going like, no, I'll accept like a 24 pick. I'd do that for a guy like Wes Johnson. Why not? You know, I mean, shit, you might 28, like whatever it is. Like, I could just see them trying to get pieces back, because, like you said, if they're in rebuild mode, that's one thing. But right now, healthy, that's a playoff team in the West, which is hella respectable. So I don't think that you pull the trigger and mortgage a large portion of your future, which you set up by moving Blake Griffin out of town, to go ahead and just slide in Kawhi, which is an upgrade, but not enough to make you beat, a top-level team in my mind.
Yeah, that's the thing, is you're getting rid of the guys that would help Kawhi. You're getting three
that's assuming that you can lock him down, because this is not a guarantee of a contract. This is a guarantee of he's forced here to play 1 year.
And Toby's still locked down. I mean, Toby just re-upped. So I don't think it's going to happen. Anyways, any final thoughts on the Clippers, either the trade or players?
I sort of, if they're going to move pieces around, I would like to see Zaire Smith go here. I think he'd be an awesome add to this team. And because they've got the 2 picks, I think that's someone you can develop.
Who would they get rid of? Shea or Mitchell? Would they go...
I would probably say you can live without Shea.
Okay.
I think, he has upside. He's not special enough for me to keep.
But you're still going Shea and Mitchell Robinson at 12 and 13.
Right now, I'm still going Shea Mitch.
So that's interesting, because I'd go more towards... If I wasn't going guard center, I'd go at what you were going with, point guard, and then the forward.
Mm-hmm. Because, again, DeAndre Jordan, we don't know if he's going to accept it.
Yeah.
22 mil is still a lot of money for him. Anyways, let's move to the final team, the Denver Nuggets. If we don't spend enough time on this, we apologize, because this is like a 2-hour, 30-minute podcast.
We just cruise right through.
I'm going to start off. Final pick, Denver Nuggets, taking Zaire Smith. Dave just mentioned him, the forward out of Texas Tech. This kid looks to be every bit athletic, as the word is defined. Showed a good shot at Texas Tech. Showed a lot of versatility, both offensively and defensively. Looking at the Nuggets, they got Will Throw Barton, they got Wilson Chandler at that 3 spot. I think that he could be a really solid player there. at the 3, and when Gary Harris isn't on the court, he could also probably play the 2 as well. So he's a guy that can float between the 2 and the 3, and I really like Zaire Smith there because he brings athleticism, and pairing him with Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, and also Paul Millsap could be a really fun lineup, and Gary Harris too. So I think Zaire Smith is a nice fit there for Denver. I think they're going to not pass up on that potential and that ability to mold a player in there in Zaire Smith. Ricky, who do you got to go with?
I'm going to go similar position, different player. I'm going Miles Bridges. This is one where, I know Wilson Chandler's there. He's probably going to take his player option for next year, but after that, he's a UFA. You get a guy like Bridges. Then at that point, if you want to get rid of Chandler, you can, and Bridges can move right in to be your starting 3.
David?
Yeah, I'm honestly between the two of you. I'm on the fence. I love Zaire Smith. I think he's got more potential. I think Bridges comes in NBA ready, though.
Yeah. And this is a Denver team that I think could be a playoff team.
They were competing for a playoff spot, and that's why I'm going with Miles Bridges. I think
they were closer to the playoffs than the Clippers were.
Yeah, with the Clippers at the end, we're just really unraveled.
Yeah, I know.
But even then, the Nuggets weren't healthy as well. Paul Millsap got hurt.
Paul Millsap versus 3 or 4 guards on your team being injured is a little different.
No, but I'm just saying, Paul Millsap, a guy they just paid money to. I'm just saying they also dealt with injuries.
I got you. Nobody was healthy, but I go Miles Bridges. I think he can come in and steal a decent chunk of minutes his rookie year because he has an NBA body already. He's a second-year player. He's someone who has played on a good team in high-level circumstances in the tournament. Not successful either time, but still you have that experience. So I think that he could come in this team and add something serious.
3 final rapid questions. All right, we just got to get them off. Team most likely to trade their pick is?
Kings.
Shit. I'll go Cavs.
All right, I'm gonna go Cavs as well. I think that they moved their pick. Team that is most likely not in the lottery next year is
Clippers.
Clippers is too easy. I'm gonna go with the.
Take out the 76ers and Cavs clearly.
Yeah,
so put Brooklyn and Lakers in there.
I'll go with the Grizzlies.
Detroit. You can add Detroit too.
And Detroit.
Yeah,
Detroit's definitely gonna be in the lottery. Sorry, Detroit. I'm going the Grizzlies.
That's
I'll be bold. Triple is just too easy.
I had them in my playoffs this year.
I think I did too.
No, you guys made fun of me for it.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
I
They
put the
won't
Clippers
die.
in. I put the Clippers in.
They literally, was never die. I know the Clippers probably won't be here, but I think the Grizzlies can have the biggest turnaround with health.
I thought the Nuggets were
a high pick.
I thought the Nuggets were a playoff team. They missed it by a game. Nuggets are in. I think it's clearly
You
the
guys are
Nuggets are
safe picks.
It's not a safe pick.
TTFO.
It's not a safe pick.
It is. They're literally the team that just missed.
I love the
I'm going
Nuggets.
for a team that's getting Luka Doncic and
Dave-
going to go into the playoffs.
Am I saying they can't? No, but I'm just saying I love the Nuggets.
He didn't ask what's your risky or what's your most bold pick. He
I'm not
just said,
saying
what's
stick your
pick?
dick out on the table.
Yeah.
Done.
Anyways, final one is which team will be picking number 1 next year?
Next year?
Not the Suns.
Not the Suns.
All right, which team will finish
Not
with
because you're not going to be the worst team in the
which,
league.
Which team is going to finish with the worst record? Let's put it that way. Not who's going to win the lottery next year, because that's a different video with conspiracy theories and tinfoil hats and Alex Jones impersonations.
I love it.
Which team's finishing with the worst record next year? Which team is back in the scenario?
The Suns.
That's
Suns.
hard to say. Not the Suns. It's either the Suns or the Mavericks.
I mean,
I think both of them are going to be close. I think the
last
Kings are
year
going to pull away. I think the
last year was
Magic.
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn has their pick again.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but last year was Brooklyn and Phoenix was the second worst.
Yeah, the problem is Brooklyn actually has talent this year. If they stayed healthy, it wouldn't have been this bad.
Or Jeremy Lin.
That's what I meant. Like they weren't healthy.
I know.
So my problem runs into, I think the Magic could blow it up. I think the Hawks could blow it up. I think both of these teams we could see right back at the top. It depends a lot on the moves they make during this offseason and going into the next year's draft because both have potential, but both have also been known to underachieve and move pieces out who turn into be successful players.
Again, I'm saying poor Jeremy Lin because that poor guy.
Oh, poor Jeremy Lin.
Yeah, poor
Yes.
Jeremy Lin. Poor guy.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not same situation, worse situation. Pistons just fired Stan Van. I don't know what that team's going to do. So I think the Pistons are going to be a top 5 Lotto team.
They could move, DeAndre.
They could move to Drummond. They could. They'd be honored to move Reggie Jackson. They'd be fucking thankful to move Reggie Jackson.
Who would take Reggie Jackson
Nobody.
at this point?
So I don't know what that team's screwed. I think that team is. What?
Were you kicking the balls?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm
ball
like,
center.
what the fuck am I hearing?
I think that team is. I think that team.
It sounds like you're
I
playing
want
it
to talk
on a
about them next
computer.
week.
What's that?
Can we get a Detroit topic next week?
Yeah, we're
this
getting a
week.
Detroit
Well,
topic this week.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
This
yeah.
week on the Fast Break Podcast. Special
much
edition
basketball.
of the Fast Break Podcast. That's going to wrap it up here on the Fast Break. The special the special Lotto edition. I'll
Roll that shit around some
I'll
more.
bring the ball back up here. Special Lotto edition. You guys wanted it. We're glad to bring it
It's like
to
2.5
you.
hours.
This is probably the longest podcast of
It is.
MVP history.
I don't know about
The early
MVP
ones, we had
history.
some 3-hour
Yeah,
ones.
we did.
MVP history, not the onside
Oh,
kick
okay.
history.
No, I don't know. We'll have to see.
Okay. What's the
I-
longest? Do you know?
I think it's your and I's draft one.
Okay.
For the onside
Well,
kick.
that is like 213.
Something like that.
So I think this beats it, but we'll see
Also,
what happens.
thing I wanted to mention is Sean's going to hate me for bringing this up, but I'm going to bring it up anyways. Should have brought it up at the beginning of the cast. I want you guys down below in the comment section
If you're still watching,
give you
they're still watching.
congratulations. Graduated from college this past weekend.
Yeah. I did.
Congrats, man. Show Sean some love in the comments.
Go get a job.
Or on Twitter.
3 years in and out.
Get a job.
I would like to have this as my job and
That's
get paid.
what I'm trying
but
to
We can do
do.
that
We
with
don't
your
have that.
support
That's
on
what we're trying to do.
patreon.com.
Can I end the podcast? This is where I do
I
that
just wanted
part.
to congratulate you, man.
I love you. Thank you. And I love you too, Dave.
Thanks.
And if you do want to make this our full-time job, or help us make it our full-time job, bringing you great content on the reg, head over to patreon.com/mostvaluable. If you want more Lotto picks, we'll upgrade the Lotto thing too. We'll get the whole thing with the vacuum and
Could
everything.
you stop it?
Yeah, we'll get the whole thing with the vacuum and everything. You know, the one,
Our viewers
the cool
are
thing,
going to love
the
us.
plastic tumbler. We'll get that thing. But head over to patreon.com/mostvaluable. Hopefully, we'll spend your money wisely on salary and getting a better room. But anyways, head over to patreon.com/mostvaluable if you want to help us out. Also, check out mostvaluablepodcast.com if you want to help us in a different way. Rep some merch. You can head over to the store. Also, check out Ricky's article that we've been mentioning about the Clippers, Spurs, the Kawhi Leonard trades that he's thrown out there. Also, don't forget to rate us 5 stars on iTunes, the Fast Break, the Onside Kick, the Primetime Podcast, the Rick and Johnny Podcast. And also, if you're on YouTube, you helped us have a fantastic 2 months. Let's keep it going. And also check out the Outcast, the great new podcast here on Most Valuable Podcast with Buzz and Juice.
Juice?
We'll be back
Juice, man.
in here either on Thursday or Saturday talking about LeBron James, talking about the Pistons, talking about the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. But for Dave Oster, Ricky Widmer, I'm Sean Anderson. We will see you later.